This programme is brought to you by Town Billiards.
As well, so I know I'm in for a tough match tonight. I need to play well.
Well, best of luck.
Cheers.
First game against Aaron tonight. Thoughts on your opponent?
He's class, so it's going to be a really tough match. Most likely we'll just see what happens really. I don't think there's a lot in it either way, but we'll see what happens with the breaks really. I think that's what happens at this level. Whoever gets the best splits, as long as you're not making silly mistakes, whoever gets the best splits will probably win tonight.
Wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, Tom.
Well, there are our two opponents for tonight's Super Series. Welcome into the commentary box, myself, Stephen Jameson, alongside Simon Webb. Simon, welcome back to the Super Series. We've missed it. It's great to be into the quarterfinals and a great game ahead of us tonight.
Really is a great matchup. It's a tough match to call. Both players played very, very well in their previous rounds. The way that Shaun was able to turn his match round when he was a set and 4 behind against Simon was absolutely fantastic, and then he sort of ran away with it. And Aaron, without being as eye-catching as Mark Farnsworth and Jordan Shepherd in their performances, was one of the standout players from that first round. His match play against Emma Cunningham was absolutely phenomenal. Did not give her a chance, and very worthy that 3-0 win.
Yeah, that's the story of the tournament so far. 4 quarterfinals to come over the course of this week and the next, and we've got so much to look forward to, including this match coming up for you right here. An interesting matchup here, as we say, Simon, because two players who maybe came into this tournament a touch unheralded, rightly or indeed wrongly, and this could be a really quite a cute game, this, for Shaun Storry. I think he'll quietly fancy himself, but he'll know, as he said, that he's fully appreciative of just how good that Aaron Davies is.
Plenty of respect between the two players. Both players know how well each other can play, although they've not played each other before. But they've seen their results and they've seen them play, and they know what they can do. But both players will come into this thinking, if I play well, I could take this match down and get themselves into the semi-finals.
Well, we've just seen the lag there. We are almost ready to go here in the West Midlands. The Super Series continues. It's quarter-final time. It's Shaun Storry against Aaron Davies, and it's next. Welcome back, live pool here on Freesports this evening. It's the Super Series quarterfinals as Shaun Storry takes on Aaron Davies. A really, really interesting game in store, and we cannot wait for this one. We've got plenty more fantastic action for you on the way. Jordan Shepherd in action tomorrow in the Super Series, but we are all about tonight. It's a big, big game. This for a place in the semi-finals against a previous world champion. The winner of this will play the winner of John McAllister and Gareth Hibbert. So here comes the first break of the evening. There's plenty more where they came from, and we'll be hoping from an Aaron Davies perspective he doesn't repeat that too many times. Straight in off the break, and it'll be Shaun Storry with the game's first opportunity. And as we always mention, when we do see the first in off, we have a look at where that white ball went exactly, and it's screwed straight back into the corner pocket. You can get unlucky on the break. That wasn't one of those occasions.
Not a good start for Aaron, and the one thing he would say he didn't do particularly well in his first round match, and he did play very, very well, has to be said, but he didn't break particularly well. It's probably why he had to employ kind of match play tactics, take 2 or 3 opportunities to win a frame and, clear up a couple, player safety, get another opportunity, and then go for the clearances. The reason he had to do that was because he wasn't breaking very well, wasn't giving himself those clear-cut opportunities, and already started off this match with a poor break.
Yeah, a reminder for those who might not be too au fait with shootout rules, or indeed black ball rules, which we're playing tonight. Shot and a visit for the player who receives the foul. So no 2 shots, a 2 shots carry, or any of the sort of thing that you might be used to down your local. Once upon a time at least. This is black ball rules. 1 free shot, and then Shaun Storry is at the table for his visit. He chose to develop the bottom of the table with his first shot, and he has covered the pocket there. I'm trying to figure out if he's played that intentionally or not, Simon. It's tough to tell where the whites ended up there from Shaun.
Yeah, he didn't quite get the position either. I think he's gone full-blooded for the clearance. There's no reason for him to really not go for the finish there. Okay, the red on the left-hand side, just below the middle pocket. That would have been a tricky ball, but these players, they back themselves to make those sorts of pots. So, missed pot from Shaun. I know it's a cliche and we do say it a lot, especially in Q Sports, but you know, you don't really settle down till you get that first frame on the board. Early stages in the match, those are the sort of delicate shots you can miss and make mistakes with.
Where Aaron was so good in the first round and so good in the World Championships, of course, where he had that run to the final, he's just such a clinical player, isn't he?
He really is. You can count the number of mistakes he made in open play as he makes one immediately in this visit.
Start the tally for tonight.
Sorry, Aaron. Yeah, we've talked that one in, but
2 on now with the break in that one.
Yeah, but the mistakes, he just didn't make many mistakes in that first round. That's what made it so tough for Emma. She was really put under it. She was never given much to go at, and she was chasing finishes, and Aaron was just, you know, mopping them up afterwards. And it was such a clinical performance. It really is the perfect word for the way he played.
And there we hear the first knockings of the shot clock. 30 seconds in the opening 15 minutes of the set. And it will dip to 15 seconds as the set enters the closing stages. But a let off for Shaun Storry. This is a good chance now for him to make this clearance. The hit from Aaron Davies was about all he could do in that position.
Yeah, and whilst it was all he could do was hit it, he's played that. That was a classy shot, because he's managed to get a yellow across to block a red. And that was intentional. He wasn't sure whether he was going to block that red or the wrong position, but he just wanted that yellow to get in amongst those reds and make it difficult. Okay, the clearance is still there for Shaun, but this is harder than it would have been.
Early test of the queuing. It's pretty good. Shaun Storry, who had a brilliant match against Simon Fitzsimmons in the opening rounds. You know, we talked about Aaron being clinical and composed against Emma Cunningham. I'm not sure if clinical or composed is an adjective I'd use for either of Shaun or Simon in that first round game. There was fireworks in that one aplenty, and easily the most entertaining set we've seen, with Shaun 4-1 down in the second set and winning it with about a second to spare. A great advert for Shootout Paul. He's gone about his work really handily in this first frame. Eventually, at the second time of asking, but having had the clearance made harder for him by Aaron. It's been tidy work so far, and there should be 1-0. It is indeed.
Frame.
That was a very impressive visit to the table for Shaun, especially considering the mistake he made with a good opportunity first time round, but very well done second time round.
A reminder of our rules for this evening. We are playing black ball rules. The main ones to note: a ball must hit the cushion after contact. We've already talked about what happens in the result of a foul shot in the visit. And a combination skill shot is allowed as well. You can pot any ball on the table as long as you pot your own. Shootout rules means we can have a golden break or a golden duck. Pot the black off the break, you win the frame. Pot the white and the black off the break, you lose the frame.
Time running.
Talk a little bit about the match format after this frame. Shaun Storry with the second break of the match. Maybe hoping for a better outcome than what Aaron Davies managed. And he has that. Quite a strange split there with the white staying down the bottom of the table. I don't think he caught them as he intended, but it's come out okay for him.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how much motion he's got on that black. Shaun was one of the few players that came into this event having, you know, he was open about the fact that he'd been practicing to try and get the black in motion, and he did actually in the first round. He didn't get a golden break, but he was very, very close on a number of occasions and already got the black in motion in this match.
It's interesting to hear from him that he's been practicing quite a bit. He has got a table at home. And one thing I noticed with Shaun practicing on the table here in the studio before the match started is how many breaks he hits them over and over and over and over again to get it right.
It's one of the things I would say players don't do enough, especially as you go down the levels. You see some of the lesser players playing in tournaments, and you question, do they ever practice their break, other than that's how they start their practice frames. But you know, it's boring, it's not very exciting, but you break the putt, you break, you go and rack them up again, and you break again, and you try and find out what works. You try and, you know, you work on your technique, your power, and your timing, and everything else. And if you're going to prepare to put that time in, then you deserve the rewards that come with it.
The middle of the table is where Shaun just has to mind his work a touch. all the yellows do have a pocket. In fact, that yellow going to the top right helps them out in the end there. From our camera angle, it might be blocked, but that's not the case. And this actually becomes a very routine finish. This should be 2-0 in no time at all. And that's what can happen. A couple of mistakes from Aaron Davies, and he finds himself 2-0 down in next to no time. Simple as that for Shaun Storry. 3-zip. This is the Suffolk man, Shaun Storry, 34-year-old Isle-of-Man amateur champion last year, which is a packed tournament to win. My favourite player is Nick Firks, and he has got a pilot's licence, which is one of the better interesting facts that we've seen from our players at this tournament. These fact files were recorded before the start of the competition.
Aaron Davies to break, trading
I'd like to see him nail down a nickname. He's gone for 3. He's got 6-pack and supersize here on the graphic. He's gone for autopilot on the back of his shirt. And I'd like him to stick to one.
Did you have a nickname when you were playing, Simon?
I don't think they... I didn't, and that's probably because I wasn't in the tournaments long enough to really need one. Yeah, first round would probably be a good nickname, I suppose. Yeah.
The Spider?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit obvious, but we'll go with it.
That bloke from Blue? Aaron in amongst the balls here, and he'll be delighted to be just that.
Much better break this time round from Aaron.
And the yellows have come out really nicely. He has got a problem to work out on the right side of the table. The yellow close to the reds by the middle pocket doesn't have an obvious home.
It's always good when you've got a yellow, you know, another ball nearby. That's normally a good way of nudging it open. The problem if you're trying to nudge it from that ball would be that you'd be nudging it towards the red and towards the cushion. Although he's a little bit straight on it on that occasion, so he's going to look for another way of doing it. I think he was trying to leave an angle on one of the yellows to the top right corner to be able to drift across and develop that par ball. This is a great shot choice for people to try and understand what the player's going through. The easiest pot on the table there was one of the yellows into the top right corner or the yellow to the top left corner, and he's taken a harder pot because he knows that he has to get the angle he needs to make the clearance. It's not always about potting the easiest ball.
Yeah, I think one of the first things that can catch people out when they're new to the sport is players almost taking the harder choice or the seemingly more difficult option. And when I first started watching pool, many moons ago now it feels like, but I always couldn't believe that if you potted 3 reds off the break, you'd probably end up going yellows. This is the key shot, and it's come out okay. He's got the freedom now to be able to pot that yellow. It does double into the middle pocket, I think, if it squeezes past the other.
He'll actually won't be too disappointed if this double is on, because it's a fairly natural double. It was difficult for him to get anything better than this coming at it the angle that he did. And I think giving players of this level, you know, if you offered him that double before the frame started and said, if you make this double, you're going to win the frame, he probably would have taken it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with the way that he played that positional shot, that's almost exactly what he was hoping for. This has been a very Aaron Davies-like finish. We saw him do this so many times in the first round. Very methodical, very clinical, that word again. It's 2-1, and the match opens up in this first set. This is Aaron Davies. Nickname is Screech, but he's very quiet around the table. Very quietly spoken man. His hometown is Oldham, and the big thing there that sticks out is World Championship runner-up earlier on this year. A huge achievement, and for a man who doesn't really play too much on the circuit, he did have a bit of a run from nowhere.
He did. I think players that know him, players that have seen him play and seen him grow up and seen him, he's played more predominantly in the World Rules version of the game, have seen him grow up and do incredible things as a junior, and now he's moved into the England team in that code. He's played very few events on the IPA Tour or in black ball at all. So it was a surprise to see him make... Oh, where's the black?
Oh, there we go, Shaun Storry. Well, we've talked plenty of times how he gets that black on the move from the break, and that is a golden break for autopilot. It's an absolute hammer of a break as well. I think 3 or 4 balls have gone down in total. Absolutely brilliant. Rack him up again. It's 3-1 for Shaun Storry.
Very impressive break, and you know, we've talked about this with his first break. He has found a way to get that black moving more often than not. Okay, you need some luck for it to go in, but he's made an effort where other players haven't, is to try and figure out how he gets that black moving, and he got the black moving a lot in his first break, didn't go in. This time it wasn't touched, it just went straight into that middle pocket, and you know, fantastic, gets himself back 2 frames ahead again.
Yeah, one of those breaks that I feel like could be watched back quite a lot of times and studied by a few players. Oh, Aaron's gone in off the same pocket again, in off on the white.
1 free shot, 1
This time he's unlucky. First one was very much user error. That is a touch unfortunate. The white was very safe until it got kicked in. And now Shaun could be looking at a very decent opportunity to make this 4-1, although that is, I mean, a pretty rank opening shot, to be frank there.
Yeah, all he has to do is open up those 2 reds, and it's a fairly routine clearance to go 4-1 ahead, because the reds at the bottom of the table aren't too bad at all. Black's fine. Now that red's gone to where it has, it's almost impossible to clear up from here unless he thinks he could squeeze this in off the yellow. Donna's just come round to check to see whether the yellow's frozen to the cushion, and if it is, and I think she says it is, then he has to hit another cushion. Hitting a cushion wouldn't be considered as done if it's just the yellow that hits that side cushion. So I had to make sure, and he did.
Well, these yellows are very tough for Aaron Davies. 3 at the bottom of the table are going to be a real problem for him. You can see one goes fairly comfortably into the middle pocket, but the other 2 are a major problem. And only 13 seconds to solve it.
What Shaun's done there, he's made the bad error with his free shot. He hasn't opened things up, but he still knows that reds are the colour set you need to be. He's made sure of his colour set and then just knocked his other red out into the open as much as possible. Then so over to you, Aaron. If you can clear up from here, or you can get an advantage from here, then good luck.
Yeah, one thing for sure is if Aaron Davies ends up winning this frame with his clearance, he will very much deserve to. So he was trying to do, free at that bottom corner pocket, and as we heard from our referee Donna Evans, the 15-second shot clock is now in operation. You can see the big number ticking behind Shaun Storry. This is an interesting time to have the game's first tactical battle.
Will Shaun take on the finish? He has an angle now to try and develop the balls and open things up. He has got that 3-1 advantage. He could let this tactical battle play out and let the clock run down just a little bit, but he's choosing to be aggressive. And what that means is if he doesn't make the clearance now, he's going for it. He is handing Aaron an opportunity.
It's a tough shot. See why it just wasn't kind for him the way it came out positionally, and now you have to say the advantage is with Aaron Davies.
I'm not going to say he's made the bad choice there, because if he cannons into those 2 reds and he opens them up and it's a really routine clearance and he's 4-1 ahead, then it's a great choice. But the balls didn't come out for him, and he's actually gone from being, you know, having the advantage in the frame to being second favourite. And it may
want to be behind that red.
I was just going to say, and normally if we're playing you know, on the IPA Tour and it's a straight race to say 7 or 8, then maybe it's the right choice. But in this format, there is definitely some advantage from just saying, okay, this is an iffy clearance, I'm going to wait.
So that's a good recovery shot from Aaron Davies. Cued that really nicely, and he's got a perfect white ball here to come back down the table.
Oh, where's the white? Where's the white? Oh, he's okay. Very lucky. Not as he played it that time.
He's already gone in off twice. He would have been a little panicked, but potentially making it a very unfortunate hat-trick. Has made this clearance a touch more difficult than he would have liked, Aaron Davies. At the minute, he's potted his way out of trouble. This should guarantee the frame if this yellow drops. The black will be routine. And there we go. Well, we've got a game on our hands in this first set. We thought this one might be very close. It certainly looks like it's going to be that way. 3-2 in our opening set. And a reminder of what we've had so far, and also what we've got to come here in the Freesports Super Series. Shaun Storry, Aaron Davies playing tonight. We have tomorrow Alex O'Donoghue against Jordan Shepherd. We'll then return next week for Gareth Hibbert and John McAllister and Mark Farnsworth and David McNamara before our two semi-finals. We'll have the final on the 4th of August,
Shaun Storry
Tuesday week.
Leading 3 frames to 2.
And
Time running.
very excited as to what that final could produce, because the players that are left in it, there's no bad games there.
There's just great games and great games, there really is. I'm excited to see how Mark Farnsworth goes. Does he back up that brilliant performance in his first ever shootout style match?
Likewise, Jordan Shepherd, he couldn't have played better almost.
Yeah, and for me, although Jordan Shepherd's won 5 of these, that was the best performance I've seen from Jordan Shepherd in this form of the game. Absolutely phenomenal performance from him, and almost equalled what Mark Farnsworth did. And of course, let's not forget the battle of the 2 world champions. John McAllister, the current world champion, taking on Gareth Hibbert, the 2016 world champion. Neither player hit top form in their first rounds, but they certainly did what they had to do when the pressure was on.
I think it helps put it into perspective a little bit. So we talk about the two sort of standout performances from round 1, and probably Mark Farnsworth and Jordan Shepherd. But if you had to probably pick your third performance of those, it would have been Aaron Davies. He really was absolutely super. He's having a little bit tougher this time around. He's not quite got going as we know he can.
In a strange way, as eye-catching as Mark Farnsworth and Jordan Shepherd played, and they really did. You know, I think Mark Farnsworth had 13 clearances from the break, and just an absolutely incredibly high-level performance. There was something about Aaron's performance that was every bit as good. Okay, he wasn't making the finishes off the break, but he wasn't getting the splits to do so. And his match play was the best we saw in the first round. There's no question about that.
Just squeezing that in before the shot clock expired.
I think this yellow still just about goes. He's not going to have a huge amount of control on the white. Yellow is going to go into the other yellow, and that's going to go towards the 2 yellows together. So I think he's okay again. He'd love the yellow below the yellow bottom of the 2 to go, but I don't think it does from where he is. Might have to play into them here.
Oh, that's a good shot. Might have to send the yellow around, the white rather, around the houses, but it's a really good recovery this from Shaun Storry. Having to chase this clearance a bit. Quite often when that happens, the worst can happen. You can end up out of position or worse.
Free shot, 1 visit.
Just didn't quite get the side on this. Was trying to hit the side cushion, not too far away from the bulk line, and bounce out nicely for his last yellow. So that's a big mistake. As you said, that was a visit that always felt like it was getting away from him.
It's amazing how often that happens as well. One shot so often leads to another. Chase one, the next one's a bit harder, the next one's a bit harder, the next one's a bit harder. And it's a similar story for Aaron, the way he's been playing tonight. He's had a couple of really nice clearances, but he's had a fair few shots like this now. He's just ran out of position, made himself work that extra bit harder.
Good recovery though. Yeah, his first shot, he put himself under pressure by not landing on the red at the top of the table. And then he was just chasing, but that pot should just set him back down for this finish.
Well, to tie us up at 3 apiece with 7 minutes or so remaining in our first set. We really will go down to the wire in this one, I think. This next frame absolutely massive. It's 3 each in set number 1. A reminder of what's coming up for you tomorrow. Alex O'Donoghue versus the Shootout King, Jordan Shepherd. Tomorrow from 6 o'clock. Live on Freesports.
I think everyone on Freesports will be looking at that going, well, they fancy Jordan Shepherd winning, but Alex is more than capable of causing an upset there.
And following us
Frame 7,
on Tuesday,
to break, 3 frames all.
Desportivo
Time running.
against Benfica. That's coming up at 9:10 this evening. Some more live sport for you this evening from the Portuguese League.
That break there just shows you how maddening this game can be. Aaron's previous break, he hit as well as he can hit a break. The white gets knocked into the top left-hand corner and it ends up as a foul break, an advantage to his opponent. This time, it's probably the worst break he's hit in the event so far. He really didn't catch that well at all. Makes a ball, gives himself an opportunity.
It's probably one of the best bets he's had in a little while, certainly in this game, I'd say as well.
Just the one ball to work out, although he has missed his cannon on the red, so he's going to have to try and cannon it again. Oh, he got the cannon, didn't get the pot.
Happens so often in any cue sport. You've got a lot of work to do with the white. It's so simple to take your eye off the pot.
That's some shot, isn't it? That is as played as well. You can see the black's in the way for the double. He has played the treble there. I think the red, you've got the red to the bottom right hand corner. You've got the one on the cushion that goes clearly. It's the one just inside that. I think that sneaks in. He may not have a full pocket, but I think it goes. And if that's the case, then every red here does actually have a pocket. And that could be a massive treble. That really could. Well, the fact that he's eyeing this red up off the yellow tells me that red doesn't go. Well, he got the line right, just didn't hit it hard enough. And worse news for Shaun is he doesn't even cover the pocket. Aaron can play this yellow off the cushion, off the red, open everything up.
A reprieve for Aaron Davies. And a big chance now. Reminder, if the frame total is tied at the end of the half hour, we do have a draw scenario. Both players will get half a point. And that does, of course, mean we can have a drawn match if that's the case. It's time for a shootout. From the spot at the top of the table, on the black ball, sudden death.
What odds on us having one in this tournament? We've got 7 matches to go, 4 quarters, 2 semis and a final.
You did say it would happen in the first show of the tournament. We thought it would happen. It's not out of the question for sure, especially as the matches we expect to go a little bit closer, a bit more tight, tougher to call.
Yeah, I think every match in this event is tough, but from now on it's tough to call, I really do. Okay, it's obvious to say that Mark Farnsworth and Jordan Shepherd start as favourites, but their opponents are more than capable of winning those matches, and they're used to taking out big name players.
So Aaron Davies, with 3 minutes and 20 seconds remaining on the set clock, goes 4-3 up. Shaun Storry will have the best part of 3 minutes to tie the scores. He is familiar with this situation. had this on the clock to win 2 sets, I think, against Simon Fitzsimmons, to win the set in his last match. Don't rule anything out. The beauty of Shootout pool. Evans racks them up
Shaun Storry to break, trading 4 frames
very,
to 3.
very quickly.
Time running.
No panic here from Shaun, but it is key that he makes a ball from this break. He needs the opportunity. Is he going to make one? Is he going to make a ball? No. That could be the frame. That could be the set, rather.
A couple of reds came very, very close there. And the fact that it's not a particularly open table will probably mean that Aaron just chews clock here by potting his simple balls.
Yeah, get your colour set here and slow things down. Don't chase a finish here, and you're going to win the set. Use your 15 seconds.
In fact, he's gone for a slightly different tactic here, putting Shaun in for a snooker. Shaun hitting that hard to try and get any kind of movement, probably increase the odds of a fluke.
It's a fine line, really, at this game, but for me, Shaun had a chance at 3-1 ahead to slow play a frame just a fraction. He took on a 50-50 finish at 3-1 up, and that cost him the frame. If he maybe slows that down because he had the tactical advantage, maybe he gives himself a better opportunity. 4-1 ahead, this set could well be a different story, but it's a very fine line and it's hard to be critical of that decision.
Aaron Davies here is, I think he'd probably say by his own admission, has not been anywhere near his best. But it looks like for all the world that he's going to take this first set down against a player who's probably been the better, honestly, in this first set. And he's a very bright player, Aaron Davies. He'll be well aware of that. And if you can win a set like this, when you know you've got loads left in the tank, it'll be a real blow, I think, Mr. Shaun. To have been well up, to have given it away in this fashion, it will rankle.
In the first round, he lost the opening set to Simon Fitzsimmons, but Simon played a good set. It wasn't as though Shaun was ahead and lost it. Whereas this time around at 3-1 up, Shaun would have really fancied taking this set down, so he will be frustrated. But on the other hand of that, other side of that, is he does know he can win from 1-0 behind.
He certainly does. Final few seconds, tick down in the first set. Shaun Storry, game as ever, gets himself a pop for the stats. But that is the end of our first set. It is Aaron Davies who takes the lead in the Super Series quarter-final. Welcome back to the Super Series here on Free Sports. Stephen and Simon with you for the quarter-final between Aaron Davies and Shaun Storry. And it's Aaron Davies who's taking a 1-0 lead. By hook or by crook, Simon, that is by far not what we know we can see from Aaron. But how do you think both players will be feeling mentally after that first set? Because Shaun Storry, for anyone's money, made less mistakes, generally played the better, but has ended up losing the set. Aaron knows he can play better than this. He's got to be feeling pretty confident about this second set, if anything.
I think Aaron just goes about his business. He just plays. He makes mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. Sometimes he'll play a flawless set and he's going to win it. But, you know, when he makes a mistake, he doesn't let it affect him. He just, you know, gets on with his next opportunity. And at 3-1 behind, it didn't look like it was going to be Aaron's set, but he waited. He got an opportunity. He made the most of it. And, you know, once he got himself into the set, he wasn't going to give it away.
Strange break from Shaun there. He didn't really get into it at all. And you take a look at this split, and this is pretty horrible. Don't think he will mind too much missing that ball into the middle. I don't think it's going to immediately cost him the frame.
No, but the one thing you want to do in that situation, get yourself a colour set, and then you can take control with reds. You can just take that bottom corner pocket, or you even have the opportunity, if you look at the table, there's only one red that doesn't go. And there is a way of opening that up, using the red nearest the right-hand side rail to play it off the yellow and open everything up. Aaron's not going to do it. He couldn't do it from there. He didn't have a pot to go for. So he's just going to play the slower tactical game, and he is taking advantage with the the Reds, and he has to wait for his opportunity, but he's quite a long way ahead in this frame. Aaron's not a player that will feel the need to rush this situation either.
I was just thinking exactly the same thing. The way he plays, he's a very almost feels like he's a percentages-based player. He will.
Yeah, there's comparisons made between Aaron and Liam Dunster, and their ways of playing are the same. They play that percentage game. They work out what they think is the right shot for the right moment, and they're not going to be overly aggressive if they don't think it's the right choice. And he knows the Reds are in front here. He knows the Reds are a long way in front, but he also knows that he has to wait, earn the opportunity.
We have seen from Shaun rather at times that very impatient might be a touch harsh, but he is certainly a more aggressive player by nature.
Yeah, touch and ball. Time running.
Yeah, he had an opportunity at 3-1 up in the first set to possibly go down the tactical route and took the aggressive option. And okay, it was probably on another day he gets the developing shot and it all works out and he goes 4-1 ahead. But on this occasion, it didn't. Other players may have seen that differently.
Touching ball was called, incidentally, so that meant Aaron could play the black, as he did.
I like that shot as well. Get the black up the table. There's a red over the top left corner, so he knows that he's putting the black up towards that pocket. Just creates a bit more of a gap at the bottom of the table.
He's opened the table up quite nicely here, Aaron. But with what we just mentioned, we know that he won't go for it until he's very confident that he'll make it. In the moment, don't think he's quite at that stage, but he's not far away.
Yeah, he's not expecting to lay a snooker that's going to earn him a foul and get the free shot he needs to develop things. So what he's going to try and do is create an angle to try and develop the problem area. He could, if he wants to, he could play the red nearest the right-hand side cushion, down off the jaw, off the red. If he plays that shot, then he'll play this with, I think, quite a bit of pace, because the red is going to go towards the yellows and he wants it to really open up.
Oh, lovely. Just like that. Just like that. Well, he talked it in, and look how well this is played.
I thought he might play that just a fraction firmer to guarantee things coming out, but Aaron's classier than that. Aaron has played that with precision, and he's played it beautifully.
That's the sort of shot that we expect from Aaron Davies. He's not shown us his best so far in this match. Bit of a sketchy first set, despite winning it. This is Aaron at his very best. Seems to really perform well when it is a little bit nitty-gritty. He can really show off his shot play, his decision-making. Really good player.
Too often people talk about players that are playing well because they're making eye-catching clearance after eye-catching clearance. You know, we talk, I've done it myself, talking about Mark Farnsworth making those 13 clearances off the break in the first round, but you know, this isn't a clearance from the break from Aaron, but it's a flawlessly played frame of pool. Absolutely flawless.
Well, these are the stats as they currently stand. And you might think that's quite a low total of total balls potted for Shaun Storry. Don't forget he had that golden break, which will lower that total. 3-1 up in the first set. Had the chance to look at going 4-1 up as well. Breaks just started to desert him a little bit. And I want that to return sooner rather than later, that's for sure.
Second frame, Aaron Davies to
haven't gone
break,
particularly well for Aaron
1 frame
either.
to 0 and 1 set to 0.
A couple of breaks badly, gone straight on in off the corner, another one kicked into the corner. Caught one of the ones he made a ball badly as well, so the break's probably been the weakest part of his game so far.
Hammered that one, mind.
That was better, that was much better.
Tightened that really well. Big split there. Now he's got some decisions to make. Yellows is the choice. And he's a little bit straight on this ball. It's giving him a little bit of a problem. He's got a bit of an insurance policy down the bottom of the table.
Yeah, just the problem with the yellow next to the black and the black itself. Maybe I'll see him play one of the yellows to the bottom left now as a plant. The one nearest the line as we look from our main camera. And the white's going to come back up the table and it's going to go into the reds. So we may play this fairly firm and just open up that area. Should be still on another yellow. It's not quite particularly well. Difficult when you're going into balls that are, you know, half a foot away from your problem area. You need a really precise cannon, or you need some luck to nudge things open. Whilst he hasn't had, you know, the luck to knock things open on that shot, it is there on the perfect angle to do so off this shot. May have felt going into it from that angle he was risking catching the black into the centre pocket. It looks unlikely from our main camera, but certainly a chance that could have happened.
Yeah, he set himself up a good angle here. You could see him lining it up. This has to work, otherwise it's likely end of visit. But if it does work, it's likely the frame. How's he come out?
It's not too bad. It's not perfect. In a perfect world, he'd just drop this in the centre, but he can't do that, but he can take it to the corner and he can stay on the black. It's a very tough pot, but he has plenty of room to manoeuvre, and I fancy him to make it.
I think realistically he'll take that. Aaron Davies, this is a tricky one. He'll know pretty early on if it's going to go or not. It looks like that is going to stay out. It does. And now Shaun Storry has a great opportunity to square things up in the second set. Looked thin from the moment he contacted it. And Shaun Storry there with a pretty bad miss. This is a good chance now for Aaron.
Yeah, this is poor from Shaun, this really is. You can't help but feel that shot there is being affected by how he's gone in the last 4 frames, having lost the opening set when he feels he should have won it.
That's a really good shot. How is he on the black? It's not easy.
I wanted that to run just another. If it had reached the red, it would have been simple. I think it still just about cuts back. The overhead, I think, makes it look easier than it actually is. Yeah, that was thinner than it looked from our overhead, that's for sure.
I think as well, it was just a little bit too close to the middle pocket to look at doubling it to the other side.
Yeah, that double was going to be awkward.
So another reprieve. This match has gone back and forth. You can't really pick any frame at the moment, the way that both players are playing. There's been some great outbursts of quality, but there has been a litany of mistakes too.
I think it's a really important visit for Shaun. It really is. I know it's only, if he loses the frame, he'd be 2-0 down in the second set, and there is time to turn it around, but having 2 chances this good in the frame and not taking them, it would really hurt, especially with the way the first set went. So I think this is a really important visit, and it's not a guarantee. The 2 reds on the left-hand side, the kind of bottom one's blocking the top one. He has to sort of take these in the nice order. I mean, he should get them. No guarantees. That was nicely controlled. Perfect position now.
For all square. There it is. One apiece in our second set. Shaun Storry with a bit of a snatch and grab there. Aaron Davies missing the shot on the black. This was it. Very, very tough shot.
It looks really simple from the overhead. It really wasn't that simple. When we watched it from the main camera and the light was coming down the table, I thought he was an inch short away from being to begin with. Before we saw the overhead, I actually didn't think he was going to be able to make it. That's how thin it really was. Sometimes the cameras can be a bit deceptive.
Frame 3, Shaun Storry to break, 1 frame all, and trading 1-0 in sets. Time running.
Now Shaun would love his break to return to maximum potency here. And whilst he's hit them better than his last, it has come up dry.
He hit that incredibly well to come up dry. Look at the number of balls that have gone into the top half of the table, and a few have come back down as well. Very powerful break. You do feel as a player, you know, when you're making mistakes on the table and things are just, you feel things are going against you. You do feel like that on the break. You do think, oh, am I bringing this on myself just a little bit? When you're playing well and you're buzzing and you're making the clearances, you feel like you miss hit the break every now and then, and you still get a good chance. Just the mental side of Paul. You've got to be patient enough to wait, take your opportunities when they come.
Squeezing that in before the shot clock ticked down. A reminder that the shot clock counts just to when the cue ball is hit. Doesn't mean the shot has to be completed.
Just awkward.
The referee very keen to keep everyone in check.
Cannon's made things tricky. This is a tough pot. Very thin. No guarantee of position either. Not surprised to see that one stay on the table. It was just one of those shots that looked more likely to miss than make. He was unlucky when he played the cannon to open things up, that they did open up nicely, but he didn't quite land with a simple positional shot.
That's going to be short. I wonder actually. That hit cushion. Apparently it did.
Yeah, I think the white hit the cushions. It's amazing how often
concentrating on the object ball.
Yeah, it's amazing how often, even as a player, I'd be sat there and watch my opponent do that, walk to the table and go, did he hit a cushion? yeah, he definitely did. Yeah. It's got far enough up the table. It may not have gone in, but it's gone far enough up the table to do what he needed to do, which was take the pocket. Simple decision for Aaron, just bump it out. He knows he's got the yellow to the bottom left-hand corner, causing Shaun plenty of problems. So by bumping the yellow out, even though he's leaving pots on, he has the tactical advantage. He's almost saying to Shaun, you know, go on, almost teasing him to go for a big finish.
Well, from what we've learned from Shaun Storry in this competition, he often doesn't need a second invitation. There was the aggressive shot.
Time out, please.
It was a good attempt, but he needed the red to land in. It would have been a great skill shot if it had come off. Lovely invention on the shot, but it had to go in the middle pocket, and it didn't. And this now opens up the frame. This should be 2-1.
Oh dear.
Foul. 1 free shot, 1 visit.
I'm not sure what happened there with Aaron.
No,
he's looking at Donna, our referee, and
yeah.
He's obviously not happy with something that's happened.
Clock, please.
Well, I think Aaron wasn't expecting the 15-second shot clock, and Donna there just told him that it was announced. And Aaron there completely foxed by it. Well, that could be a really big mistake, that.
It could, and it's worth just mentioning that the cue ball didn't hit a cushion, or no ball hits a cushion here. You have to hit a cushion or pot a ball. And obviously not even close on that occasion. It's almost though he stopped queuing halfway through the shot, looked straight up at Donna and sort of almost to ask a question of, so something's either happened in his eye line, although Donna wouldn't have made that mistake. He must have been just the shot clock.
change in shot clock was announced a minute and a half ago. Might have been missed in all the fury with the drama with the foul and the changing of the momentum in this frame. But this is such a let-off. Such a let-off. A steal for Storry, which he very much capitalises on. Wow, what a crazy finish. Here it is again.
It's a really bad error because this is Aaron's frame. It's routine. He's going 2-1 ahead. Shaun knows that when he sat down in his chair, and it is a bad error. It's an error it's the sort of error that can really get in your mind. If he comes up dry here and he has to sit there and watch Shaun make another clearance, he'll be thinking about that. And you know, it's just a little bit maddening making a mistake like that.
Well, if this game has taught us anything, it's that Aaron's breaking dry here. That's just how momentum tends to work in this game. He will be trying absolutely everything to ensure that doesn't happen. Still only 2-1, so a long way to go in this set. A break and dish will be just what he wants, and you can see Aaron there go and get his regular cue, swapping it out with a real sense of purpose. He creamed that one.
You mentioned going and changing his cue with 15 seconds of shot. Players who do use a break cue for breaking with, you know, they have to move pretty quickly because when you've got 15 seconds, you've got to go and get your cue and work out what you're going to play for your next shot in 15 seconds. It's not a lot of time at all. Trying to get the blackout here. Done that well. Now, if Aaron makes the clearance here and he's now in a good position to do so, he's going to have to, he'll probably play the one to the bottom left first, and then it'll be a case of one good pot to the top of the table when it should be routine. If he sees this visit through, that mistake will be gone from his mind. If he misses it and he has to go and sit down and watch Shaun going 3-1 up, he'll be thinking about it the whole time. So even though it's only 2-1, big visit. Lovely shot. Such lovely control. Not a huge amount of room to land on this last yellow. He would have loved just a fraction more angle to be able to get the white back down so that where his hand is now has to go the other way where there really isn't much room, but that is perfect. Brilliant.
Yeah, again, the control, Aaron Davies, exceptional there. It's a touch fiddly, I think, but in fact, simple. So, a really much needed clearance from Aaron Davies there. That was such a big frame, you felt, for him.
For me, best visit in the match for Aaron. He's played some great visits and some great shots, but to be able to mentally park that mistake of the previous frame, come up with a big break and make that clearance look, you know, easier than it really was, excellent.
Reminder that the winner of this quarter-final will face Gareth Hibbert or John McAllister in the semis of the Super Series. Could have a rerun of the World Championship final if Aaron and John both make it through. I think Shaun and Gareth might have a few words to say about that, though.
Gareth versus John, that is such a tough match to call. Gareth starting to find some form again. 2016 world champion, won just about everything there is to win in the game. Really is one of the legends of the sport. John, one of the rising stars. Oh, I say rising stars, he's the world champion. He's already risen, but you sort of know what I mean.
Oh, Shaun didn't contact that very nicely at all. Watch the white here. White jumps up. Not much explosion from the pack at all, and the white straight in. That's a horrible break from Shaun Storry. It's unlike him. Usually a very clean breaker. Didn't get hold of that at all. From a technical standpoint there, Simon, what's caused that?
Well, to me, it looked like he didn't quite cue that one smoothly, so the white's almost going down the table. Okay, it's difficult to see from our camera angle, but the white is not going down flat on the table. It's sort of almost bouncing down the table, and if the white catches the ball's not... Aaron nearly fouled again. If the white doesn't quite catch the balls right, almost as though it's landing at the same time as catching it, then the balls just won't split open. So, just not a smooth bit of cueing.
Yeah, if we watch that at a super slow pace, at a table level, you'd almost see the white skipping along level one.
Exactly.
And yeah, interesting what happened a moment ago. Aaron, I think, is trying to use the shot clock as almost a rhythm when he's queuing, and it's almost as if he mistrusted how many beeps that he'd heard and almost caught himself out again.
Yeah, completely mistimed his shot, and it was very similar to what he did with the time foul. Sorry, not hitting the cushion a couple of shots or a couple of frames ago.
It does strike me as a bit of a rhythm player. It's a very deliberate technique.
He's down on the shot quite a long time before he pulls the trigger, which is a disadvantage in this, as he gets a little bit of a lucky nudge, although the angle was not great to get on the last red. Yeah, but if you do, as I was saying, if you do take quite a long time on the shot itself, you need to get down on the shot pretty quickly with 15 seconds. And that's going to work against Aaron.
Oh dear, we are in trouble. What's he got on the box of tricks here? Not a lot. Potted himself into a problem. Not quite settled in this game yet, I think it's fair to say.
It's not the set of pool I was expecting to see from Aaron, not just by winning the first set, but the way he started off this second set. Looked very good in winning the opening frame, and all of a sudden he looks like he's the man under pressure and a little bit edgy.
Foul.
Gamble from Shaun. You don't often see Shaun Storry play safe.
One free shot, one visit.
And
Time running.
the risk with that shot was if Aaron had hit that ball full in the face and knocked the red in, it was frame over for Shaun Storry. But now he's in a great position. It should be 3-2. To the man from Suffolk.
Would have preferred to knock the red onto the side cushion rather than up towards the black, and the only reason I say that is that the black now has to go into the centre pocket, and yes, there's plenty of room and he should land there. It's always nice to have the option of the corner as well. Looks like we're going to end up in a very similar position to set number one, although we're getting there in a different way. Shaun Storry looks like he's going 3-2 ahead, not that long on the clock. Needs the white just to bounce. It has. He's fine. And now this is where I was saying about the black. If it goes to the corner, it's nice and easy to get on. Now he's got to get on it nicely into the middle. If you don't land nicely, then they are tricky little pots.
Needs that to keep moving. Should be all right.
Yeah, it's just thin enough to be missable, this. Oh, so much so he's played the double. That's how tricky it was to the middle.
Well, if nothing else, Simon, the misses are making this an enthralling game to watch.
Big pocket for this red as well, off the black.
I wonder if he has to play this off the top cushion.
I think he's just about okay. I think he'd have preferred the red to come off the black, just to knock the black away, but it still goes.
Indeed it does. Well, that is a let-off. Huge let-off for Aaron Davies. You mentioned there's a world champion in the draw. There's a couple of them. Gareth Hibbert, our 2016 world champion, in that great victory over Craig Marsh. Mark Farnsworth takes on David McNamara in the other quarter-final. That's coming up next week.
Frame
And
6,
the
Aaron
reigning
Davies to
world
break.
champion, John McAllister,
In 3 frames to 2.
could face
Winning 1
his
set to
beaten
0.
opponent
Time running.
in the semi-final. One thing's for sure, Aaron Davies certainly played a lot better in that tournament than he is doing tonight. Looked out of sorts.
The break's warming up though. He's catching the break better. Last 2 or 3, much better. good opportunity.
It was flipped reverse from what we saw in his first match, where the break wasn't the greatest, but in open play, he looked like he wasn't going to miss. He's just lost that sort of air invincibility that we're used to seeing with him. So smooth around the table, so reliable. Use that word at the start of the show, clinical. He's not been that tonight.
No, not as much as he was in the first round, that's for sure. I like that choice. 2 minutes 55 on the clock. Okay, the finish was there for him, but it wasn't guaranteed, and it was tricky.
Oh.
Although that's brilliant from Shaun.
That's a heck of a shot, that.
That's absolutely, that's just turned the tables completely all of a sudden. All of a sudden, this has got 3-3 with next to no time left.
Well, that's come out of nowhere. Absolutely brilliant. And he's flying around the table as well. Shaun Storry's on a mission here. It's almost as if he's determined to make up for that error in the last frame.
Also, the quicker he can clear these up, the more time he's going to have for a break and clearance to try and win the set.
We are tied, 3 apiece. Here's the shot again, and what a shot it was. Had to play it with swerve, off the cushion, off the yellow. That's brilliant work.
When Aaron played the shot, I actually thought he had the snooker really nicely tied up. I didn't realise how much of the ball Shaun could see, but he still had to swerve around it and then make it off the yellow. Great control, and he's made very light work of the clearance. He made that very quickly. He's certainly made quicker clearances than he's going to have to here if he wants to win the set.
Time running.
3-all then, 90 seconds remaining. Shaun Storry wants a ball and wants a good spread at the minute. Aaron Davies might have a chance to win the set here. Now then, what can he produce? He's got 68 seconds. For 6 yellow, for my apologies, 7 reds and the black. He's actually made it a touch more difficult for himself in having to put an extra ball to open the table up. Has he the time?
He's not rushing, but they're there. I think, well, he's not really been in this situation very often. He hasn't needed to be. I think he could have done that a little bit quicker. That's 10 seconds wasted there. Played that one with 5 left on the clock, and he has time, but he hasn't got time to dawdle here. He needs to play 5 shots, 30 seconds.
Need to get your skates on, Aaron. This is a chance to win the set. 24 seconds remaining.
He's just taking a couple of seconds too long on each shot.
It's going to go right down to the wire, this. It really is. Needs to be positionally perfect. 10 seconds to go. He's going to have a shot at the black.
Oh, he's missed.
Or is he?
Oh.
Well, you could not script this game. You can't believe it.
I can't believe it. I mean, it's not a full pocket, but it's enough. And he had just enough time.
Well, a tied set. It's 1.5 to half a point. We'll be back for the third set after this. Who knows where this quarterfinal is going to go? We don't. Welcome back to the Super Series. Paul, Stephen, Simon still with you here for this quarterfinal between Shaun Storry and Aaron Davies. A quarterfinal at the moment. Difficult to see who wants to win it, Simon. The mistakes have been aplenty, but it's making for some real drama.
Drama there where I really wasn't expecting any. Both players making mistakes I wasn't expecting, and I felt like Aaron had just almost dawdled a little bit through this finish, but I thought he was still just about going to get there, and we were surprised to see this missed pot in the centre, but actually when you watch it back on replay you see that he wasn't playing for it in the centre pocket. I'm sure he was playing for it in the corner, and he just got into the white too much, because that was actually quite a tight pot into the centre pocket, and especially considering he had to rush the shot.
We
talked about the fact he likes to be down on the shot for a second or two longer than most players.
But he did have just about enough time, I'd have said, in that final frame to have gone on to win the set. As it is, the set is halved. So we now have the chance of our very first black ball shootout. And the way these two are playing, it really would not surprise me at this juncture to go the distance. We'll play the best of 5 sets. It could at this point end 2.5, 2.5.
Tough mentally for Shaun. Okay, he's still only 1 set behind, but he knows if he wants to win this match without going to a shootout, he's got to win 3 straight sets. You know, it's tough to do.
Yeah, I suppose the irony of that the conclusion of the last set, in a way, is that the half set really does favour Aaron a lot more than it does Shaun. It's not maybe as big an error not taking that set out as it might have been. You could also point at the start of that last frame of the last set, Shaun going in off the break. He could have had exactly the same opportunity as Aaron if he'd have made a better break.
Well, look back further than that. He missed that double on the last ball. Sorry, on the black. He should have won. He should have been 3-2 ahead. You know, it's yeah, it's a bad error really from Shaun, and then you know, a surprising error from Aaron as well. Both players will feel like they should have won that set.
It's been a strange old game, this. It really has. Not seen anything quite like it so far in the Super Series. And whilst, at least in terms of fluent play at times and the amount of mistakes, you could argue that it's been lacking in quality, but in terms of the entertainment, I mean, just have no idea where this game's going to go next. And that in its own way is bringing the drama.
But there has been some really good pull from both players as well. There's times when you think, yeah, that's a great finish, great composure, and a great shot, or whatever it might be. And so it's been a surprise when those mistakes have crept in.
Oh, a missed black for Aaron. And you can see his reaction at the bottom of your screen there. It's one of sheer frustration. It's not the easiest of blacks, but it's one he'd certainly expect to make.
That's a prime example. A really good break, nice clearance, looked really good. Misses that, okay, not. You could argue the mistake wasn't landing nicer on the black, but it's a black he would expect to make. He's playing the plant here. That was more pressure on it than he really wanted. Didn't land nicely on the ball. Black over the pocket, had to take it on. Excellent shot.
A relatively simple clearance, but I'm taking nothing for granted at this stage in the match. Absolutely nothing for granted. It does require some decent cue ball control, this. That looks pretty good.
It's almost too good. If he's dead straight on this, he cannot get nicely on the last yellow, and it'd be under all sorts of pressure with tough cueing off the cushion. But I think the way he's looked at this, I think he's probably just got enough room to get out enough. Had to really hammer that. Daren't pick any more of the pocket away, because then it stays on the table. It was a really good shot to get it to here, but it still takes some cueing.
He knows how big a shot this is. Nails it. Black is absolutely routine after that, but that's such a good shot from Shaun Storry. Needed that. He's on the board in the third set, 1-0.
You almost feel like the player that will set. I know that we're still talking about players settling down, and at this stage in the match seems a bit strange, but the player that really grabs this match and finds their best form, you feel like it's going to go ahead and win it. Both players are almost giving their opponent an opportunity to stay in the match. They're both getting enough chances.
1-0 and trailing 1.5 sets to half a set. Time running.
Shaun could do with his break returning. And it just about has. The white very nearly got kicked in there, but has he got a route into a clearance? That's the question. Plenty of action in terms of movement, and ball spotted.
I think he's got reds, or he may not have reds. Can he see a yellow to the centre pocket? It'd rather be yellows than reds. There's two reds that just don't go anywhere. He's had to take reds. So can he play the red along the top cushion? And we're looking from the overhead. It's difficult to see whether he can. Off the yellow to open up the pocket. So the other two reds look like they're a plant to the corner, but the yellow's in the way. But if he's playing this red off the yellow, it's very delicate. If he plays it straight, then he can go into the two reds. It just makes the pot. He can go into the reds, but he can't really develop them both. The yellows are still going to be a problem.
Yeah, and he's played a couple of these shots already where he's tried to go in off another ball and not got it right, but that is spot on.
That's brilliant, that really is. Played it with some pace as well. That's lovely and confident.
Well, I just wonder if he's played that because what happened in the start of towards the start of the second set, I think, where he had one at the bottom right corner, if you remember, and he massively underplayed it. I just wonder if he's not overcompensated, but just made sure he didn't make the same mistake.
Yeah, make sure you clear it all out the way and have that shot. Still well played. Still not guaranteed. Sounds strange with only red and black on the table, but if he flicks into the black will go to the cushion and be safe, and he can't really avoid it. I don't think he can avoid it. If he tries to screw across the face of the black and flicks it, it could be a problem. He has nudged it down, and I think he's just about okay.
Seen a couple of these missed, but at that point, it wasn't going to happen for Shaun Storry. Good clearance, really good clearance. One of the best of the match so far, I'd say, from Shaun Storry. Just felt like he needed that. And this game continues to be very, very even. Take a look at the balls potted, the missed pots. Total frames won. It's very, very close now. But the set total is obviously what matters the most, and Aaron Davies remains a set ahead. Shaun Storry remains back to the wall if he wants to win this one.
Aaron Davies to break, trading 2 frames to nil,
normal time
leading
at least.
1.5 sets to half a set.
Looking at the stats, Aaron's having the better of the break. Didn't break particularly well at the start, but it looks like he's found a rhythm on the break now. He's made a few pots consistently. I feel like I've done him a disservice here, as he catches that break badly and comes up dry. Commentator's curse. But it's a messy break. Often happens when you don't quite catch the break nicely. They won't split open as well, and you just get a little bit messy. But at least reds have an opportunity here. Key will be the red nearest the bottom right-hand corner. He has to play that off the yellow to open up the bad red. Well, he's tried to develop it a different way. The problem with that is he's knocked the yellow over the pocket, and now the reds don't look so good.
No, and it's come out horrible as well. The yellow, an inch either side, and it'd probably be just about all right, but couldn't have ended in a worse position, that yellow over the pocket. Trouble.
No attempt at the pot. Just says over to Aaron. Shaun knew he wasn't going to be able to clear those up. It's not that easy for yellows either. Okay, he's got the one over the pocket, but there's a lot of yellows at the bottom end of the table that do not go anywhere. I always think of these situations, can you develop your yellows quicker than your opponent can develop the reds whilst keeping it safe? Which player can earn the opportunity first? Because it's unlikely that either player is going to be able to lay a snooker. Certainly one that's going to be good enough to get a foul out of their opponent. So it's about developing a ball at the same time as keeping it safe, or trying to create an angle to be aggressive with a skill shot.
That was aggressive. I think actually that's come out really well.
He'll be pleased with that.
For Shaun.
What he's done there was may not be exactly as he wanted to, but he's opened up all the reds in one shot. Now all the reds go, every red has a pocket, and not every yellow has a pocket here, so Aaron's probably going to have to play a good pot, either look to retake that corner pocket, or he may look to try and make something happen himself.
Tell you what, it's a really good shot. Developing black in doing so as well. The two yellows grouped together at the bottom of the table are the issue. So obviously they don't go to the pocket which the red is covering, and they block each other for the other corner pocket.
And he may be able to play a plant on them, but the problem with the plant...
Or he can do that.
That's a very nice shot. I wasn't sure he could do that from that angle.
And now it's open for him. This is a clearance which ordinarily Aaron Davies would take out. He's made almost a fledgling career out of taking clearances like this. And he's going to come up a little awkward on the yellow on top cushion. It's not the end of break just yet.
Yeah, wanted to land on that one at the top. That's a bit of a problem. I just wanted to have a look from the overhead to see whether that yellow at the bottom of the table goes past the red to the corner, and he may have half a pocket. Well, he's moved it now anyway. That's a lovely shot.
Key now to this frame is Aaron getting on the yellow rather at the top of the table, and managing to get back down for the black. Because he's got to come a fair way down for the black. He's got to be underneath it to be able to pot it.
Doesn't want to be straight. Does not want to be straight.
He looks pretty close to straight.
Yeah, the reason I say that is all he can do is leave the white in the top left-hand corner of the table. The yellow pots to the corner comfortably enough, although from the cushion it'd be a tough pot. But how do you land on the black? Can you play it slowly enough to hold for the black? Can you play into a red? Difficult. Natural angle to me looks like he's missing the red on the left-hand side. So he has to play this almost dead weight length of the table to hold on the black. So hard to play that when you're... I mean, even look at that. I mean, he's missed it a little bit thin, but the white's still come too far at the table for the black. Just such a tough shot.
He's unlucky. Unlucky. Gave that tough clearance a really good go.
And he was forced into taking it on as well. Shaun played a good safety shot to open things up on the reds. Almost said to Aaron, over to you. You've almost got to take these on.
I do always think a shot like this is a gamble.
You have to make sure it's better than a one cushion. To me, from the overhead, it looks like
a one cushion.
A one cushion. But he's going to be close to hitting the red first, and he'd have to play it with some pace because he needs the white to come out for the black. So the referee needs to be on the spot here.
Foul.
Oh.
He's nowhere near it in the end.
Yeah, a long way away.
Time money.
And the gamble pays off for Shaun. I do always think it's such a risk because Aaron Davies gets out of that snooker. There's a good chance he wins the frame. And it wasn't the most difficult snooker he could have been laid. But the way he played it does make me wonder if it was a touch more difficult than we originally first thought.
Possibly. I don't think Shaun had that much choice but to try and lay the snooker. He could have tried to create an angle and gone skill shot rather than the snooker, but sometimes you have to take that gamble. But I agree with you. Whenever you leave your opponent what looks like a one cushion escape and a ball over the pocket, you're almost fearing the worst, even if you convince yourself it's the presenter's shot.
I should mention as well the excellent remote camera work done by our operators here in the West Midlands. The arena inside the venue here is just populated by the two players and the referee in line with social distancing guidelines. Cameras all being operated remotely. Doing a great job they are as well. And speaking of doing a great job, Shaun Storry goes 3-0 up in this third set, a set of course that he will feel that he has to win. As we take a look here at the recent shootout champions, this format of the game relatively new, and we've seen some fantastic matches and tournaments from it. And we'll see the main man in this Formula game, Jordan Shepherd. He comes up tomorrow in the quarter-final of the Super Series, and he has put in some pretty impressive performances so far, as you can see.
One final that he's not made, that is incredibly impressive from Jordan Shepherd. Everyone said when this event was first talked about that it was a format that was going to suit him. It's easy to say it, but he's backed that up with what he's done in it. It really is incredible.
So rare you see that kind of dominance of an event in an individual sport like that.
I was going to say, it's also an event where in this tournament we're playing sets, best of 5 sets, but in the shootout itself, each match is what we're playing each set here, so each match is a race to 5. So to win that number of race to 5 matches against high quality opposition,
it feels like it's just too much jeopardy for that sort of level of consistency to actually happen. It's just like a golfer coming top 3 in every event of the year. Like, it really just doesn't happen very often, if ever.
I agree, I really do, and I think part of it, I think he's been helped by his opponents. I think he's almost early on in the event, he played great and made some, played some brilliant pool to win the events. And I think there's been a touch of players have had opportunities to beat him and not quite taken it. Maybe they're playing the main man, they're playing Jordan Shepherd in the shootout, live on TV. They're under pressure and made it easy for him at times, but can't take anything away from his performances. It really has been incredibly impressive by him. And the one thing I would say, having said all that, is that I still think the performance he put in the first round is probably the best I've seen him play in this format, which shows how well he's played in this tournament.
So guys, the start to this frame, meanwhile, has been a really strange one. Shaun hit a great break, but with a 15-second shot clock, couldn't find himself a pot, played safe. Aaron then played a brilliant pot, but ran into trouble with the white. And Shaun misses a fairly routine looking yellow. Lets Aaron back in. This is not a simple clearance for Screech.
I wonder if he likes that nickname or not. Sometimes you get nicknames where they just sort of stick and you accept them, but you're never a big fan of them. This red does go, but it's a tough pot.
I wonder if it's got anything to do with the Oldham part of Aaron Davies's makeup. I'll tell you what, he's actually come up really well here. It's a big frame for Aaron Davies to win that. Fantastic work from the man from Oldham. And it's been a very strange set, this. It's been a very strange match, full stop. If Aaron was to win this, it really does make it difficult for Shaun. And what does Aaron need to do from now, Simon, to push the agenda hard in this third set?
Clock's against him. All he has to do is take any opportunities that come this way, and if you run out of time, then you run out of time. Shaun won't be worrying just yet. He's still in good position in this set, and he doesn't need to worry about the situation in the match. He just needs to play this set, get himself. He wins this set with 1-1 with 2 sets to play, so that's all you've got to focus on.
Big break this from Aaron Davies coming up. Still plenty of time left in this set, don't forget. 10:57 and ticking remaining on the set clock, and Aaron has come up dry. Not quite sure how he's come up dry, but he has. That's a canny little shot from Shaun.
There's another miss from Shaun.
We'll hand up an apology because he's come actually quite well out of it. Don't know if Aaron can squeeze through to the yellow, to the top right. I think he can, or can he?
Yeah, just about. Oh, he misses the pot though.
Was that red?
That's a result as well. We may have been on the overhead. If we hadn't have been, you may have seen a hand of apology from Aaron as well, because that slowed things down for Shaun. It would have been a good opportunity to go 4-1 now. it's certainly not, and he misses another pot. So this is why we've been saying it's been a strange match so far. We're just seeing mistakes that we're not used to seeing. Both players playing under pressure. And one thing I will say about this form of the game is that when you start seeing players in this sort of mode where they're at the clock and not just the shot clock but the set clock puts them under so much more pressure than a normal tournament, that you do see more mistakes because of it, and for me that really adds to the excitement. It's just when the players feel slightly differently about that.
He's unlucky. It was nearly a brilliant shot from Aaron Davies there. He's a little intake of breath from him. He's so close to knocking that red in. If the red goes in there, could well have been end of frame. But he's still got a lot of work to do here. He's running out of options to try and do it. Not sure what shot he's got on here, if any.
Oh, so good. So good.
That's me told. What a shot that is.
He's a little bit unlucky if the black's in the way. Oh, it's not. He can get past this. That's okay. So he's gearing himself up for another skill shot. Okay, he's not made the skill shot, but he's still on the next ball, which is all important, although position onto the last ball is now very difficult.
That's such a good shot. Potting the yellow is a bit of a, you know, you expect him to make it, but to open up the table like that, absolutely brilliant.
That was just as good. That really was.
This has been such a high quality of break. We have seen a few of these. For as many mistakes that we've seen, we have seen some absolutely brilliant bits of work. This is one of them. This really is. Make no mistake, this is a fantastic clearance from Aaron Davies. Brilliant, brilliant pull.
Frame.
That was incredible. I was there thinking that he's got no chance of making the clearance here. There's too many problems, too many bad balls. And when the first skill shot doesn't come off, you're thinking absolutely no chance. But, oh, the way he managed to find that finish, brilliant stuff. And he's putting Shaun under a lot of pressure now.
This is the recent tournament history of Shaun Storry, a regular on the IPA circuit. And as you can see, he's got a bit of a battle coming up against some really high quality opponents in early rounds. Take a look there at round 2, Ben Davies, round 2, Mark Boyle. They're tough draws in the early stages of the tournament. What you can see, this is an amateur. He is a high quality operator, quarter-finalist in the international, winner of the Isle of Man.
In fact, that Isle of Man event where he won it, that was his last.
Oh, that's unlucky.
As he goes in off, all of a sudden he's now really under it after being 3-0 ahead in this set. Let me just finish off and say that Isle of Man victory, that was his last match as an amateur. He turned professional after that match. Finished high enough up in the rankings in the amateur list to get his professional status, and what a way to bow out of the amateur game with a big victory in the Isle of Man. Any victory on the IPA tour, whether it's an amateur title or a professional title, is so incredibly impressive. The standard of the tour, both professional and amateur, is so high.
It sort of goes back to what we were saying about the performances of Jordan Shepherd in this event. The level of consistency is so difficult to achieve. You know, we've always talked about some of the best players around in this form of the game. Think of the likes of Mark Farnsworth, Liam Dunster, Ben Davies, some award players who've been considered the best in the world in this format for a long time. It's not unheard of for them to get beat by a rank amateur in round 2. It happens.
I would say, so on a normal IPA tour weekend there is 200 plus players there, and I would say just about all of those 200 plus players are capable of beating any player in the world on their day. Okay, they're not all capable of going on and winning the tournament, but you are still looking at potentially a tournament winner pot of about 50 players. It's such a tough standard, it's such a high standard, and with lots of depth.
I'll tell you what, we've said it already in this match a couple of times. We have seen some mistakes, we have seen some really good stuff. But Aaron Davies here has a shot in the black to tie this up with 4.5 minutes on the set clock remaining. He's got to watch the white here. He doesn't like it. He's got to play it. Is it going to get the drop? No.
So it's just another one of you're watching that clearance to think, oh, this has been perfection from Aaron all the way through the visit, and then it just runs out of position onto the black, and it's been that kind of night. You're thinking 3-3, and all of a sudden, great chance for Shaun to go 4-2, and there'll be a sense of relief if he can make this clearance.
This is his only real difficult remaining pot, and it's not particularly difficult.
Just got to be careful not to let the white run away with himself. Good position, it's easy, and he's got that good position.
Well, we're in for a tight game here, folks. After 3 highly entertaining sets. There we go, 4-2 in this match, or in this set, I should say. Aaron Davies probably hit. He's going to be looking at a tied game. It's not out of the question that he can rattle off 2 frames in 3 minutes here. It's been done before. It will be done again. Shaun Storry has done it in this tournament.
He has, and
Frame 7, Aaron Davies to break, trading 4
Simon
frames
Fitzsimmons to win the grand final. 2 clearances, including racking the balls, in about 2.5 minutes. So that is what is possible.
Golden break would have made it easy. Or easier, I should say. And that's actually come up pretty nicely for Shaun, because it's a pretty congested table in many ways. He's opted for reds. Shot at the top of the table, and you'd expect him at this juncture to maybe even win this set 5-2. Or is he just going to play it safe? He plays a percentage shot, and that's when you know he's really starting to think. Shaun Storry, he's a very instinct-based player, very aggressive player. But he is very match-aware at this stage.
Just wasn't sure whether he could cut that back enough, and why take the risk. There was enough time to make a clearance and have at least a break. And the golden break does change things when it comes to that sort of situation. It makes no difference to the player whether you win the set 5-2 or 4-2.
I've got 2 more sets remaining. As it stands, if we share those, we're going all the way. The first time in the Super Series. It has got that feeling, doesn't it?
It really does. It almost has all night long. It really has. Neither player's been able to get themselves onto a run where you feel like they're going to go away and win the match. They keep keeping their opponent in with the odd mistake and the odd bit of brilliance.
Good little clearance this from Shaun Storry. Really has. He will definitively now win this set without the need to stop the clock. 5-2 then in set number 3. We are tied with 2 to play in the Super Series quarter-final. Welcome back to the Super Series here on Freesports. This game has had a little bit of everything from Aaron Davies and Shaun Storry. If my referee Donna there, we are tied after 3 sets. We have 2 more to play. We've still got the option here of a golden shootout finish. And at this stage, Simon, you would not be betting against that.
It feels like its favourite at this stage, it really does.
Yeah, it really does. Never at any stage has a player looked like running away with this one.
You feel the player that can cut out the mistakes, because they're both getting the opportunities and they're both pulling out some nice clearances and playing some good pull, but the player that can cut out the mistakes could grab this match and get themselves into the semi-final. But it's been a match that's almost felt like it's been full of tension all the way through, and you've never felt far away from an error, and I don't think that's going to change as we get closer to the climax of the match and the pressure of the reaching the semi-finals gets closer. Couple of yellows being nudged safe, making this clearance tricky, and the further he gets through the finish without developing those yellows, the worse it's going to get for him. That's what he didn't do against Emma Cunningham in round one. He didn't take on these kind of finishes. Today maybe he feels like he needs to, the way the match has gone. Even if he gets the cannon in this situation, he's no guarantee for it to come out nicely.
It's come out as good as it could have gone, I'd say.
Yes, he needed to catch the higher of the two yellows to be able to play the shot the way he did. It's good control, but he's still going to have to pull out a couple of good pots. I guess he's probably just going to leave the yellow to the bottom right corner. I don't know whether he's going to try and move it. Yeah, back himself to make the one down the rail. He only has to screw the white back an inch past where it is now, so the cue ball isn't a problem. Tough pot.
Be some clearance this. Oh, that's how close he was to making it. Saving grace is he's not left an easy opening pot for Shaun here.
That's about as close as you can get without it dropping in. It really was close. As was that.
And he's just have a little look at the snooker.
A bit of a two-way shot for Shaun. Very aware of where the white was going to finish. I think he's got the snooker, but I think it's easy enough for Aaron just to come off the side cushion. So this is, if he can, then he would fancy making this nearly 10 times out of 10. It's a case of can he get on the black. Well, he's decided just to accept a bad black or a tough black.
This is horrible. This is really difficult queuing. Long way down the table.
It's difficult to tell from here as well, but the natural angle might be for the cue ball to go close to the centre pocket. I think it probably should be just above it. He should be fine, but it's close. Oh, it was thinner than that. It was thin to the pack. Great shot.
Really nicely done by Aaron Davies, and he takes the lead in the fourth set by a frame to nil. We have more Super Series for you tomorrow. The king of the shootout, Jordan Shepherd, is back in action. His quarter-final against Alex O'Donoghue will be very much worth a watch. Don't count Alex O'Donoghue out of that game, by the way. He was very much in form in his own right. And we round off the night here on Free Sports with live Portuguese football for you. It's CD Aves against Benfica.
Second frame,
coming up
Aaron
at
Davies to
10
break,
past
leading
9.
1 frame to nil, 1.5 sets all. Time running.
So far, Aaron's break's been hit or miss. He would like to find it now, especially having taken that opening frame of this set, and that's his best break of the night. That really is. Caught them beautifully. Power generated through the pack with minimal effort. Just one problem to solve. Right. Is that actually going to be two problems to solve, because he's forced into going yellows, but he's got the immediate opportunity to develop the two bad yellows in one shot. And that's not gone well. I think he probably would have rather just flicked the red. I don't know if he was playing to flick the red or not, but if he flicks the red, then it's all open. He's knocked one yellow to a really awkward place below the middle pocket, and the other reds, other yellows, not quite come out.
If he can get this though, puts the frame back in his hands, and this time he nails it down the rail. It's a really important shot, and he's back on track, as it were.
Going to look to leave himself an angle to play the white into the red on the right hand side for his last yellow. He'll come back just too far for that shot. May have to just come backwards and leave a thin yellow. Difficult to tell without being right behind the shot whether he can force an angle. Oh, he has got the angle. This is lovely.
Just has to make sure that the red right in the middle of the table doesn't end up blocking his route to the black. Just having a little look at the line. Black goes to the bottom right corner pocket. Just needs to make sure he's on it.
Needs the white to go.
Needs to make sure he's on it.
The reason, I mean, it's so easy at home to say, why didn't you just play the white to the left-hand side, because that was guaranteed. But you look at the camera angle we've got here, the black it only goes to about 3/4 of the pocket, so you really want to get as nicely on it as possible, which is why he's risked going up behind this red to try and land nicely on it, and it couldn't have come out worse.
Well, this will test his powers of recovery. He's going to make the hit.
Yep.
So no free shot here for Shaun Storry, as there was a total snooker there for Aaron Davies, admittedly self-inflicted. I've seen better opening shots.
Yeah, that was a bit of a stretch and almost a little bit lazy from Shaun, if he's honest with himself. Should have given himself the opportunity to clear these up, and now he's thinking about a safety shot.
Yeah, didn't get fully down on the shot, did he? Just almost took it as a given, I think.
He has played the safety shot.
Total snooker.
As we said in the last set, you give your opponent a one-cushion escape. It's not out of the question that this ends up in the left middle pocket.
He's going to get a really solid contact on this. He'd make this at least once out of 10, maybe twice out of 10. Not this time. But the other bad news for Shaun with his safety shot is he knocked a red safe. He's tied up two reds in one shot on the right hand side. He needed that red to stay in the middle of the table, giving himself work to do. He's half got it out. He's still got one on the right hand side. Oh, he's going to play this off the other red. Oh, he's going to play the snooker. It's different to Shaun. Shaun in the opening set was a little bit more aggressive than this.
Yeah, this is a touch more of an understandable snooker to lay for sure. This is difficult. Not just to hit, but also to pot. And again, frees it up for Shaun. You back him to clear from here.
Yeah, make the red to the centre pocket thin, go into the other red, nudge it down over the right corner, and pretty simple. Hardest ball to land on is the black, which is your last ball. So last positional shot in your last red is key. I always say with blacks in the position they're in now that You land nicely on it, you're not going to miss it, but you don't want to give yourself any extra work or make it tricky.
The start of this fourth set has been quite slow. You can see over 10 minutes already gone on the set clock. We're only just getting to the end of our second frame. It should be one apiece. We've said that before in this match. This time Shaun Storry makes absolutely no mistake. We are indeed all square in the fourth set. Reminder of what we're playing for tonight here in the Super Series. It's a spot in the semi-finals against one of Gareth Hibbert or John McAllister. I'd wager both players here, when they book their spot, whoever is to do it, will have to play a fair bit better in the semi-finals to have a shot of making the big one. On the other half of the draw, Mark Farnsworth and David McNamara will go head-to-head for a spot in the semis, where they will face either Jordan Shepherd or Alex O'Donoghue. That game is live on Free Sports tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. This match dead even. Set and a half each, frame each. And Shaun Storry comes up dry and hands over a really good split to Aaron Davies. And one of those where you could probably justifiably take any colour set. It just depends on which is the easiest shot first. Really, really good split there.
It's another break that Shaun's got the black in. Really good motion going up the top of the table. And he got the break so well, the split and the power through the pack, that he deserved to make a ball. But, you know, we've seen quite a big sample size now on breaks for him, and his breaks have not been successful tonight. He's had that one golden break, but 8 times he's either been dry or he's fouled off the break. You know, it's a huge percentage. And I think my worry is for Shaun, and we saw it with Mason Penny a little bit as well, that the two players that have been practicing the break to try and make a golden break, that when they've been getting the black in motion, but almost the quality of the break has been compromised a little bit by doing so.
Requiring the rest.
Time out, please.
Looks like he's going to need the rest again. He would have just loved another roll on that white, come across the face of the yellow. This time it's the spider rather than the rest.
It's the first time the spider's been used in the tournament here.
Thank you.
And in fact, he decides against it. Doesn't like it, going to go another route, plan B. He's played himself into trouble. A clearance which should have been routine. You'd have expected to make that. And now it lets Shaun Storry back in. Just when you think either player is almost starting to hit a patch of momentum, just quite easily seems to get taken away, either by themselves or by their opponent.
Talk about it a lot on commentary. A lot of times I talk about, you know, clearances that they could be tricky. You land in a bad position, it could be difficult, and then the players play at such a high level, they almost make you look a little bit silly as a commentator, because they make it look so routine so often. But what we're seeing tonight, and that last visit from Aaron shows you, that you only have to be a fraction out of position, and what should be routine all of a sudden becomes tricky. You know, he was an inch, maybe 2 inches away from having an absolutely routine roll-in finish.
You know, you think of Aaron Davies at his very best. You think of how he played in that World Championship run. You think about how he played in the first round of this tournament. You'd almost already start re-racking the balls, looking at the spread of that. Yeah. Of the balls as they came out of the break from Shaun there. But he's just found it really tough going in this match. Both players have. It's been a really attritional game. It's gone back and forth.
Shot clock in operation.
You cannot pick a winner. Defy anyone to have a winner picked in this game and feel confident.
Not possible. I think he has to play into the black here. Then he just nudged the yellow into the black a couple of shots ago. Yeah, I don't think the black would have gone. I don't think the black goes from there.
What do you do?
I don't think he can even hit it full enough with side to turn it into the pocket. He looks like he might. No, he's just going to come across the face, play the safety shot.
It's not the worst safety, that.
It's not, but what he wanted to do was force Shaun to play the yellow that he's nearest, and Shaun can just see the one on the left-hand side, which helps. I wonder whether Aaron can see the black. He might just be able to see the black. Can't do anything with it. Just let that white drift a fraction too far. Ideally did not want to leave in this yellow to the centre pocket. An easy starter. Any good news for Aaron Davies is that at least the black's covered the red of the yellow on the right hand side. Shaun would have loved another inch up the table so that he could play into his bad yellow. You see the slight shrug of the shoulders. He's too straight. He can play into it this time. He wants to catch it full if he's playing into it this time. He has. Lovely shot.
He's come out okay with the white ball as well. I'm almost tempted to say it should be routine from here, but this game has frequently made a mockery of statements like that. I take nothing for granted at this stage. Pressure only ratcheting higher the closer we get towards the finish. Both players will end this game, I think, feeling like they've run a marathon. Shaun Storry clears, 2-1 in the fourth set. Take a look at Aaron's recent tournament history. Pretty impressive. Got round one performance in the Masters, and then turned up at the World Championships. And a run all the way to the final, but that doesn't quite do him justice as a player. He's a very, very accomplished player in another form of the game.
Yeah, a different code of the game. He's been, you know, a youth world champion. He's made it through to the England side, playing at the highest level, doing very, very well. A rules change from the other code of the game, allowing players to play in other versions, have opened things up for him, and he's played in the Masters and the World Championships. Hasn't committed himself to the tour this year, but I'm sure he will at some stage in the future.
Shaun Storry here with an opportunity. A dry break from Aaron. Storry here, looking to be the first man to have a reverse dish in this match. And with the amount of breaks that have come up dry, it was surprising there hasn't been more reverse dishes. That's a very good shot.
Just dry, but we've had 5 foul breaks as well, and normally that foul break is led to a reverse dish more often than not. It's a sign of the way this match has gone. Could argue some tricky splits, but also some strange mistakes from the players. There have been some good pull. The players have made a couple of finishes from the break, but as yet, no reverse dishes.
This could be our first one. It should be our first one of the game. Very routine cut into the middle for a 3-1 lead in set number 4. There it is. And with less than 10 minutes remaining,
Frame.
a 2-frame cushion opens up for Shaun Storry. These are the stats that I was mentioning. That is the game's first reverse dish. 18 missed pots in total. It's a lot.
Yeah, and that one thing the stats doesn't show is sort of positional errors and you know, other mistakes within the game. It does show the missed pots. But yeah, there's been mistakes out there from both players. We have seen some moments of great pool as well, but yeah, 18 missed pots, more than both players had in the entirety of their opening matches, that's for sure.
Frame 5, Shaun Storry to break, leading 3 frames to 1, 1.5 sets all. Time running.
Looks like he's changing his break once again, going back to how he started the match. That's how he made the golden break. He's got the black in motion once again, but once again he's dry. And it's certainly an interesting one. He's found a way, and there's no doubt that he's doing something to get the black moving more than most players. But I do think that's compromising the quality of his breaks, or making other balls off the break.
Oh, that's come out well for Aaron. It's a really good shot. We'll take that all day.
We just had the stats up, and there's 13 breaks now for Shaun, and only 3 times has he made a ball off the break, and well, 4 times if you include the golden break, of course. That's a low percentage. It's tough to win matches with your percentage that low.
This is a tricky clearance for Aaron, but they are there for him. Requires some really good positional play and some good pots as well. So it's a pretty high tariff.
Not easy to land nicely on the yellow that he was just looking at on the top cushion. You have to leave it as a tough pot. The red stops you from getting nicely on it. It's very tough from there. Not far enough for the other yellow, so difficult. I think he's still going to have to take it on. At least there's a gap down the middle of the table for the white. Oh, that's a good pot. And he's on the last yellow.
He's made his way through these really well. And it wiped its feet a bit. Of course it did.
I think he got a bit of a slidey kick on that one. It just seemed to go square off the white, but oh, we waited a long time for a reverse dish. Now we've got another one.
It seems about fitting. He did catch it a bit thick, and so if he played that at any great pace, that was staying out. But mercifully, for Aaron Davies' sake, it drops, and we have 6 minutes remaining of this fourth
Frame
set.
6, Aaron Davies to break.
Aaron Davies can square it up here
1.5
and
sets
take
all.
us into a bit of a
Time
shootout
running.
beside it. So we were 1-1 after about 13 minutes of this set. The pace has picked up. Aaron's come up dry.
It's come up dry, but it's also not a very nice split. Problem red, problem yellow, problem black. What does Shaun do here? He's played a little bit more tactically since the second set. Hasn't pushed the boat out quite as much, and 3-2 ahead, 5 minutes on the clock. Why would you push the boat out here? Keep things tight. Well, he is going to continue to go.
I think the benefit to that is, if he feels they're there, a 2-frame cushion should see him home at this stage.
Yeah, completely agree. Winning the frame, there's still plenty of time to win a frame, if not 2, for Aaron. So yeah, winning the frame is the most important thing, but my question is, if it's a 50-50 clearance, having the 3-2 lead. To me, that says that is the time to slow it down. And what he's doing here is he's putting all his eggs in one basket. Looks like he's going to have to leave his hardest ball till last. And if he doesn't make it, then Aaron becomes favourite for the frame. The one thing in Shaun's advantage, at least the black is covering the yellow to the bottom left-hand corner. Doesn't look like there's room for a double here, so I think this is definitely playing this off the black.
Yeah, I think that's what he was just lining up. This is 7th shot if it goes. And it doesn't, although it has tied up the bottom of the table. This is not a gimme of a clearance for Aaron Davies. And actually that in itself isn't the worst news for Shaun Storry.
It's not, but the yellow that's nearest the bottom left-hand corner pocket, that is perfect for developing the other yellow, the one that's just above the black. So there's no question Aaron is favourite to win this frame. I do feel that, you know, I don't want to be too critical because, you know, on another day Shaun may have made that clearance, but I do feel that was maybe pushing the boat out too far. Maybe I don't mind going into the black and yellow early on like he did, but once it didn't come out nicely, maybe then you can pull back, take a pocket, slow things down. You have got that frame advantage. If the frame takes 5 minutes to work itself out, you win the set.
I'll tell you what, I wonder if... No, I don't think he can. I was going to say, if he can squeeze the white past the yellow on the cushion, he might have a chance to pop this red, but as you can see there, he doesn't. But there is a gap, which he has not hit.
One free shot, one visit. Time running.
So that's the free shot, just to bump the bad yellow out. Then you go for the clearance. One thing you're going to have is the yellow on the right-hand side rail. That's the only ball, once he's played this free shot, that he's going to have to really concentrate on. Oh, that's a bad shot. He wanted that right over the middle pocket. He wanted an easy ball to land on that yellow that I was talking about, and it's back to work again here for Aaron.
It is, and that red is very possible. He can't afford another mistake.
Oh, brilliant.
Great recovery. Needed to be. And now he's got 2 minutes to sweep up the rest of these yellows to tie the set. It would put both of these players on 2.5 sets apiece and set us up for a showdown in the 5th for a decider.
This isn't easy, and the clock is, it's not against him, but he can't afford to take too many more visits. He almost needs to get it done in this visit, otherwise time is going to be against him.
It has to be this visit, no question about that. There's 5 balls left. That is a minute.
Has an angle if he wants to, that he can play into this yellow on the cushion. If he's feeling confident, he'd just play on it and knock it in down the rail. Moving it, it could go wrong. He's played for it as a double. I actually don't mind this as a shot choice. If he feels more confident in making the double, then that's the way to go.
Oh, he's missed it. Now can Shaun pot that red?
Well, he may not be able to pot it, but he can nudge it over the pocket. And he's only going to have, what, 35 seconds left on the clock afterwards. Oh, he could cut it in. Great shot.
Well, this will rubber stamp it. Shaun Storry sneaks away with the 4th set. 27 seconds remaining.
4th set, Shaun Storry.
And I think Aaron has just conceded it, in fact, with 20 seconds to go. That makes it a Shaun Storry lead as we head into the deciding set here in the Super Series. Welcome back to the Super Series. This is turning into quite the game between Shaun Storry and Aaron Davies. It's going the distance. If Aaron can win this final set, we will go to a tie break for the first time.
Aaron Davies
in
to break,
the Shootout.
trading 2.5 to 1.5 sets. Time running.
Here we go then. Where's your money, Syke?
Oh, well, I said there'd be a shootout at some point, or a tie-break at some point in this this event. This is as good an opportunity as ever, but Aaron's made a bad mistake not tying up that last set, so he needs to start well here, and that is not the start.
Oh, it's unlucky.
One
So
free shot, one
unlucky.
visit. Time running.
Can't really legislate for that. And then these all go. It's not the easiest lie, this. A bit of work to do, especially at this section of the table.
It's just one ball to work out, really, but in a weird way, he'd like it if the black just nudged out a bit more as well. You could see what he's trying to do. The red that's in the open at the bottom of the table, pop that, go into the red. You know, not the one nearest the corner pocket, but the one above that. Knock that out. Stay on the other one. And he got into the yellow. He almost tried to hit that too hard, and when you hit it that hard, the white will throw wider than you think, and he's gone into the yellow rather than the red.
He's thinking about taking the plant here as opposed to taking the one at the bottom left. He's right behind this. Back him to get it, and he does. There's his get out of jail free card.
Definitely an argument for taking the red at the top of the table now, as we have another look at that excellent plant to the corner. If he doesn't take the red to the top now, then he's going to leave it for his last ball, and that makes getting onto the black tricky. So the reason I thought he might take the red at the top was that he could then leave himself this shot that he's about to play along the bottom cushion as his last ball. He would have felt that he wasn't guaranteed to get position off the one at the top in the previous shot, so he's had to go this way. Plenty of room down the middle of the table to get onto the black, but you want to land nicely. It's far enough away from the centre pocket, and these centre pockets are tight enough that you do want to land nicely on this black.
Yeah, it's one of those that the white comes up awkward. It makes it a very missable shot. I think he's played that really well.
Yeah, a little bounce off the bottom cushion makes all the difference. If this white was on the bottom cushion, it'd be a lot tougher. Excellent from Shaun, very good clearance.
Oh, this game is giving us plenty of entertainment, and we've got more pool on the way for you on Free Sports. Not just tomorrow and next week as this competition concludes, but happily reveal money matches are on their way to your screens here on Free Sports. First time, I think, that, Simon, and a bit of a staple within the pool world, but for those who haven't watched too many of them, I mean, the clue's in the name, but they are a very exciting form of the game.
Yeah, up and down the country, money matches, well, pre-lockdown, were being played every weekend. It's as simple as player A puts up the same amount of money as player B, and winner takes home the pot. It is an exciting form of pool. It is different. They're normally longer races, longer matches, and the money is normally, you know, built up from their friends and supporters. So there's a different dynamic there, playing for not just your own money but your friends' money as well. There's pressure that comes with that, and we've seen some very big money matches, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the money matches are received on Free Sports. Certainly looking forward to seeing that.
There's some players who've really made their name through money matches. They don't really play the tour much, but almost have a very good reputation within the pool world because of their money match prowess.
A great example of that would be a player that we now know very well on Free Sports, is Simon Fitzsimmons. Before he made the World Championship final in 2017, he was known predominantly as a money match player. Didn't play on many tours, played the occasional event, but it was more about the money matches for him. Obviously, he's since gone on to do good things on the Shootout pool. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That's some players prefer that style of pull. And the thing that makes a good money match isn't as different to tournament play. In tournament play, you see lots of great players, and the player who plays the best over the course of a tournament will more often not walk away from the trophy. With a money match, it doesn't have to be two great players to be a great match. Oh, that's a great shot from Shaun. I held my breath as it looked like the black was going to drop in.
Well, you were holding your breath. He was blowing out just to make sure that black ball didn't go in the bottom corner.
Yeah, just to finish off on a money match, the thing that makes money matches is having an even match. What you want is two very evenly matched players that then can create a lot of excitement. A match that goes down to the wire. There are lots of fans and spectators there watching. It won't be quite the case for us on Freesports because it will be played during lockdown. That's another great shot from Shaun, but yeah, something to look forward to as Shaun looks like he's finding his best ball at the right time.
Yeah, doesn't he? It's a really good clearance from Shaun Storry.
Right.
This is the shot that won it. Have a look at this. Pot was great, the position is fantastic. At that point, unmissable. 2-0 in the final set. Remember, Aaron can only win this match via a tie-break. Shaun wins this set, he's won the match. And there's the spot on the table on which the white ball would be placed.
Break, trading
with
2
black
frames to 0 and
on
2.5
the spot.
sets to 1.5 sets.
It usually occupies, which is at the bottom of the table, you'll see in just a moment. It's a little bit further back than the balk line, just to add in that extra degree of jeopardy. And it makes surprising actually how much tougher it makes the pot. It adds a few degrees of tariff to it.
It does. It's finding the balance between making it too difficult for the players, you know, so they're missing it more often than making it, and it's almost pulling it back so it's a fair challenge almost. If it was just spot to spot, it's difficult, it's a tough shot, but you almost expect the player to make it other than the pressure of the situation. So just bringing it back that inch just adds to the difficulty. If we are going to see that tonight, Aaron is going to have to find something.
Well, he cued that beautifully, but his obvious problem is at the top of the table. That top right pocket is a problem that needs solving.
He was hoping to have the angle to do it on his next shot. He hasn't quite. And the longer you leave it till you do get the angle to play the skill shot, the harder it gets. This time I think he can do it. Just about. Screw directly into it from the middle pocket.
This red has to go in. So too does the yellow, of course. Shot. Really, really good shot. That's one of the shots of the night from Aaron Davies. Absolutely brilliant.
The pace he played it at is what makes that such a good shot. He had to hit it at a pace where he allowed the spin to happen. He got it absolutely perfect.
Yeah, didn't he just? And you now start to look at the black ball. It's absolutely not a gimme, not the way that this match has gone, not the way that Aaron's been playing. He'd have loved this to be a nice simple one. It's probably as good as he could have got it. Should be routine. And it is. Nothing is easy at this stage of the match. Aaron Davies played a couple of fantastic shots in that clearance. And he needed it, you feel?
He really did. I mentioned earlier on that the players...
Here you go, Simon. What a shot this is.
Yeah, you can just see the way the white arced. If he hits it firmer, the spin doesn't start to take until too late, and then he doesn't get the cannon. So he played it at the perfect pace where the white, then the spin starts to happen so that you get the cannon. The pace was key to that shot. I was just about to say that I mentioned earlier about the players and their, you know, they were up and down with their form. They're both now playing very, very well. That's 3 straight finishes from the break we've seen in this set. So when the pressure's been on the most, it's almost like they've focused down a little bit more, maybe.
How on earth is that ended dry? That's remarkable. You can't do anything more than that. So much movement on every single ball in the pack, and yet not a single one of them has found a pocket. And the way these are spread, this should be 2-2.
I've been saying all night, I think going for the, you know, almost trying to get that black in motion has compromised his chances of making a ball. Whilst he got the black in motion on that occasion, he certainly gave it every opportunity to make a ball, because they were spread far and wide, and yeah, he hit those well enough. He deserved to make a ball. Look at the split he's left. It's sometimes this game will just drive you mad.
Queuing's pretty awkward to the top of the table here. Just be careful with his arm placement. Yeah, played it well. And at this stage, just has to mind his P's and Q's.
I wonder how Shaun feels. Gets himself 2-0 in front with 2 great finishes from the break, and then he's had to sit and watch Aaron get himself back into this set.
But it has been nice, I must say.
It's the way to stop. Oh, he's just okay, I think. Just. And only just.
Yeah, he's all right. But I must say, it has been nice to see the final set not decided by errors. It has been quality play, this, from both players. They're both playing very, very well. It's all square, it's 2 apiece. With the backs against the wall. They're playing their best ball of the match. A reminder on Free Sports, we have more of this on the way. Jordan Shepherd in action tomorrow night. He takes on Alex O'Donoghue in the second quarter-final. Same place, same time here on Free Sports. And immediately following us here on Free Sports, it's CD Aves, already relegated from the Portuguese League.
Aaron Davies to break.
They host
2 frames all,
Benfica,
trading 2.5 sets
end
to
of the
1.5
season
sets.
in second place in that penultimate fixture of the Portuguese League season. As the football season starts to come to a close, it won't be long until it's back again, of course. Loads of live football on Free Sports over the course of the next couple of weeks, and indeed the rest of the year. And just as we saw in the last break from Shaun, Aaron's been subject to the same fate here. It's a decent break, absolutely nothing down. What he has got to his advantage is he's not left a particularly easy shot, if any.
Yeah, there's no real finish here. Can't pot a red. Or he could have just about potted the red over the bottom corner pocket, but then that would be making yellows better, and it was a tricky pot. Couldn't pot a yellow, so nothing Shaun could do, just a containing shot. Almost teasing Aaron into going for the red over the bottom corner pocket.
Every frame now absolutely critical. Shaun Storry wins this set, he wins the match. If Aaron Davies wins this set, we go to a tie break. At the minute, with the 15-second shot clock about to be introduced, we are all square. That is a very good shot from Aaron Davies. He's got the red out the way, but has he left himself a shot on the next yellow? I'm not sure he has.
I wonder if he was just trying to take the pocket with that shot, take control of the frame, and it's dropped in. It can happen.
We still could here with a bit of a plant towards the bottom corner. It's what he's tried to do. It's not quite come off for him, but again, this is still not nice for Shaun Storry.
It's not, but that wasn't the best safety shot from Aaron. He was hoping for a lot better than the result he's had. He's knocked open a red. He hasn't tied up any of the reds at the bottom of the table, and the red that he has opened up at the top of the table is actually a good ball to develop his one bad red now. The one on the top cushion. It's all about getting a nice angle on the red that's nearest it.
15-second shot clock now in use. 15 minutes until one of these players is in the semi-final. They've given us an epic. There can only be room for one.
He wants to walk around to see what angle he needs to leave, and he hasn't got time. Oh, so he creates one. Great shot.
He left that late. He very nearly got himself a penalty despite playing the shot. That's how close he was.
You could see he just took one step to walking around the table to have a look at what angle he wanted to leave, and realised he couldn't do it.
And then misses the next one. Shot clock. Whoa for Shaun Storry.
He misses at the worst time. He misses once the developing shots have happened. So now the yellows all go. Okay, the yellow on the left-hand side is a tricky pot, but at least it's got a pocket. Oh, white needs to go. White really needs to go, and it hasn't. At least another inch on that shot to be comfortable. This is a stretch and tricky now. It's a good pot. Straight's no good, needs a bounce. Yeah, he's okay. He's just saw him pointing his cue there. He may be thinking about playing into this yellow. He could just drop it in and take it to the top corner. We've seen him do that a couple of times. He may be playing it into the centre pocket, but
I think he is. I think that's where he's been lining up.
we've seen all tournament long, these yellows, these balls into the centre from these sorts of angles are very difficult.
Yeah, it's a tough shot that it looked at. No margin for error. Played it really well. And now, Aaron Davies, the simple black, to go 2 from a tie break. 3-2 in the decider. Remember, this is what they are playing for, a slot in the semi-finals where they'll take on a current or a former world champion. Gareth Ivic, John McAllister face off next week here on Free Sports. Do join us for that one. We're with you from Monday through Thursday next week as we set up our final. 2 quarters and 2 semis to come next week.
Winning 2.5 sets.
Get into the rhythm at the back end of the tournament. Really looking forward to that. This is all about the first quarter final. That white ball was headed in. And now it's out in the open. And these balls are spread well. That is a let-off for Shaun Storry. Didn't cue that particularly well, but this time the luck favours him. He hasn't had it on the break, in fairness, for most of this match. Perhaps he was due one.
Yeah, I think he may have changed his plans once again. Gone for lots of different types of breaks, trying to get that black going. This time it was just raw power from the front ball. It may not have been his best contact of the night, but certainly been his best split of the night. Shot down the cushion takes some cueing, but once this goes in, hard work will be done.
Well, you talk about the hard work. Made it look like hard work there.
Hasn't left anything easy for Aaron, and it's not a particularly easy safety shot. May have left a gap here. Difficult to tell.
Total snooker. Time running.
Clearly see it's a turtle snooker. That's a good shot from Aaron. I think at first glance that's okay from Shaun. Of course, didn't have to hit a cushion after contact because it was a total snooker. When he first played it, I worried that he'd left the yellow to the left corner, which would have given him a chance to go for a finish. He didn't. Makes things a lot harder.
I mean, the finish is there. It's just very, very tough.
Yeah, I question whether he's even going to go for it. I think he could lay another snooker here whilst developing this ball on the cushion. That's what he's done.
He's played that really well. Doesn't want that yellow to be tied up. I think he's just about got away with it. I think all three yellows will go. There's the hit.
Things have got tricky now for Aaron because there is no more balls to play safe with. He has to now be aggressive. And it's still not a very nice set of balls at the bottom of the table to be aggressive with. He may come down the table and look for a skill shot. He's just trying to fire into them and make something happen, and it hasn't.
Oh, another twist.
Yeah, I was just wondering whether there's too long left in this frame, in this set, sorry, for him to think about just going super negative. So he's taken on an incredibly tough skill shot because he had to, really. He was going to lose the frame anyway.
Yeah, it was the shot before, maybe a couple of shots before that put him in a bit of trouble there. Shaun will just get this yellow out the way. It's not played. It's a particularly good shot there.
Yeah, that's a poor one from. That's a rushed shot. That's a, you know, wasn't quite in position with 15 seconds, but at least he hasn't created any more damage. Good safety shot after the poor free shot he had.
Oh, such a good chance to go and win the frame from that position.
Yeah, and you don't want to give your opponent these extra shots. You've got a chance to win the frame, you want to make sure of it. Bad things happen when you give your opponent more chances.
One free shot, one visit.
Speaking of which,
Time running.
Shaun says he's got time to think about this. Not much, admittedly, but a little bit. And that's okay.
Yeah, it is just okay, because he can't see the red nearest the right corner pocket. The one to the bottom left, the positional side of that shot's tricky, and the other one doesn't go, so not ideal. He accepted he was going to go into the yellows. Make sure of the pot, he's done that.
Seems a little bit antsy, doesn't he, on his feet, Shaun Storry. He's not settled. I know that he's got to fly around the table a little bit, but there's sense and anxiety within him, which is so understandable at this stage in the game.
Oh, I thought he'd missed that for a second.
Well, it wiped its feet, but eventually Shaun Storry gets the frame on the boards. Is it any great surprise that it's 3 apiece? Just had the right amount of pace for that to drop. I think if he'd have played it any harder, that was staying out.
Quite agree, I thought that was going to stop this all the way. Just gone in for Shaun, that's good news.
Look how even this game's been. Absolutely remarkable, really, in so many different ways.
Aaron Davies to break. 3 frames
Really has been so little to split them.
Time running.
This is such a big break coming up now. 5.5 minutes remaining. This could be the last frame of the match. Could be.
Really needs a ball, and he's made a couple. Oh, that's not the best layout. I think, can he pot a ball? Or is he welded up against the ball at the top of the table with no shot?
I think he can pot a yellow. I think. Into the middle pocket. It's tricky. He's got a red, in fact. That's even better. And he's made it really nicely.
Okay, so does he fancy the plant? Does he want to play red onto the red nearest the bottom right-hand corner? If not, there's a double potentially. Does he want to try and move it? Could do now. I don't think this plant is too bad. I think it's one of those you probably fancy making if you get right behind it. The good news with the plant, now. Yeah, if he misses the plant, he should cover the pocket and have the tactical advantage in the frame.
And he has missed it, but you're very right. I mean, you say he's got the advantage of covering the pocket. I'm actually not sure he has. I think that's what the reaction that you saw there was for. This all of a sudden now has opened up for Shaun Storry.
Yeah, that was a poor shot from Aaron.
Remember, Aaron needs to win this set. If Shaun was to go one up here, Aaron does need to win two to stay alive. Tying the set isn't good enough. Has to win it, and that shot might be so important.
There won't be much time left on the clock if Shaun makes these last 4 balls. Not a full pocket for the black to the
just
bottom
thinking
corner,
that, yeah.
but this is one of those shots that you make sure you play it off the red. He's right behind the black, he shouldn't miss it. And he will be right behind it. Nice little angle just to stun down straight towards it.
This to put him within touching distance of the semi-final. It's not a full pocket. But it's straight through. It's a really good shot from Shaun Storry. And now Aaron Davies must win the next 2 frames to stay alive in the Super Series. It is a tall, tall order. Shaun Storry has 1 foot in the semi-finals, where he'll meet either Gareth Hibbert or John McAllister.
Been very impressive. You feel that Shaun's just found some, another level here in this last set and a half or so.
4 frames to 3 and 2.5
Still being edgy out there, but
sets.
he's certainly playing his best ball of the match.
No surprise to see Shaun Storry utilise as much of the 15-second shot clock as possible. He's absolutely well within his rights to do that. That makes total sense.
And of course, he wasn't going to give that too much power. It wasn't a tap break, it was a normal break, but it wasn't anywhere near the power that he has been hitting that break with. Didn't want to risk a golden duck, making the black and fouling, and he didn't want to open the table up too much for Aaron either.
And that might well be Aaron's last shot. Or more specifically, his last chance. Shaun is going to tie up this top end of the table. That will just about, you'd imagine, do it. Oh, it's been such a titanic battle, this, Simon. But I tell you what, you'd have got pretty decent odds on Shaun Storry being a semi-finalist at the start of this competition. The 2 opponents that he's had to beat, very high level. Now a shootout winner, a World Championship runner-up. He's really had to battle to get here.
He's had to work very hard. Shaun's a fantastic player in his own right, but it's a tough draw. I suppose there are no easy draws in this event, but yeah, it's Shaun's had to play well in patches. He knows his job's done here. Hasn't finished nicely on this red, but that doesn't matter.
I won't mind that too much.
Set conceded, match, Shaun Storry.
Shaun Storry wins the quarter-final. What a battle that was between two really, really good players. Commiserations to Aaron Davies, but congratulations to Shaun Storry. Sight, what a game. What a match.
Brilliant match. Both players, they made their mistakes along the way, but they both played some brilliant pool along the way as well. It's one of those matches that had us on our edge of our seat the whole way through. We just didn't know what was going to happen next. There was so many good things and so many strange things happening out there, but Shaun definitely played his best pool at the right time, and that's why he's walked away with the victory.
It was made better almost as a spectacle, just purely because of the errors that were contained within it, and that was caused not only by both players playing well at certain points, but it almost just came at random. There were unexplainable misses at certain points during that game from two very, very good players.
Yeah, I just think the format that we've seen in the shootout, but when you add the set play to the shootout style, and then you've got the pressure TV event, you know, it's a big tournament. You know, we're seeing great players, but they're seeing great players under pressure, and I love watching sport when players are under pressure. You get to see that mistake, but you also get to see the class come through, and you see them keep their composure and doing what they have to do to really grind out a win. Well,
doing what he had to do is exactly what Shaun Storry did, and I think we can speak to Shaun now. Shaun, a massive congratulations. First of all, how do you feel? That one must have frayed the nerves a little bit, mate.
Yeah, it was a topsy-turvy match, wasn't it? I feel obviously glad I won, but Aaron, I think, missed a couple of chances early doors to really put me to bed. I was missing all sorts the first couple of sets, so he'll be a bit disappointed. He sort of snooked himself in his last ball a couple of times, and that changed the match for me, really.
You look like you started, congratulations Shaun, you look like you started the match quite well, but then you lost that opening set from a position of, you know, you were in front. You managed to keep your composure. How you managed to do the same thing in the first round? How are you doing that out there?
Well, as I say, you just got to keep holding on for a chance. But I mean, you guys could have. I heard you've made the pockets tighter since the last time. I don't know what's going on, but you know they just don't go in.
I'll do some analysis for you tomorrow, mate. Don't worry about it. Let's sort it out for the semi-final. How excited are you to be at that stage of the competition? You've got a great match coming up, whoever you end up playing, between John McAllister and Gareth Hibbert.
Yeah, I really look forward to that. It's next week, obviously, so get back on the table, try and work out how to play, and see you next week.
Well, we had some great moments from you as well. You had the golden break, of course, which I know you've been working really hard to get going. And that black on the move that we've seen, you can see it behind you. Struck that one as good as you can hit it. Yeah, the cut break wasn't really working. It did the first couple of frames, and it just seemed to die off on me. I couldn't break all night, really. So Aaron was breaking really well. As I say, I think he had the more chances, so just lucky to get through.
I want to ask you about your break, Shaun. I know that you've been putting in some time trying to find a way of getting the black in motion. The statistics tonight will tell us that your break didn't really work. Do you think that trying to get the black in motion is compromising the quality of your breaks, or do you think that's just the way it went tonight?
Oh, I mean, I don't particularly try and get the black in motion. I just the cut break seems to work better for me, but today they just weren't splitting like they do at home. So you have to change your plan, don't you? Sometimes certain breaks don't work on certain tables. So I started breaking head on, where obviously the black won't move. But obviously I'm trying to copy Aaron's break really, and he's hitting them really well, and I'm dry every time. But there you go. Well, how pleased were you coming into that final set, knowing that you had a very slight advantage, but you seemed to play your best pool in that final set, which must have been really pleasing for you. When the chips were down, you came up. Yes, that's normally what I do, to be fair. I've had a few like that, so just pray that it turns up every time, really. But it'd be nice to just win one easy for a change. But well, from our perspective, mate, we're really enjoying the drama you're providing here in the Super Series. Congratulations on a great win. We'll see you next week in the semis. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Thank you very much, Shaun. Well, he gave us some great entertainment. I'm sure his next match will do exactly that as well, Simon. A great game in prospect, whoever he ends up playing out of John McAllister and Gareth Hibbert. Yeah, cracking match. Two world champions, current world champion and the 2016 world champion. John McAllister is up there as one of the best players in the world right now. Obviously, that goes without saying, being world champion. But with everything else he's doing in the game, he's going deep nearly every time he plays. But with Gareth Hibbert, you've got a guy who has been one of the legends of the game. He's won just about everything there is to win. He's been the #1 on the tour. He's won multiple events. He's been world champion. He's been seniors world champion, doubles world champion. He really has been there and seen it and done it. And it's a cracking match, and it's going to be a tough one to call.
Yeah, really looking forward to that one next week. And we've got plenty more to come for you on Free Sports just tomorrow. Same time, same place. Jordan Shepherd in action. The pre-tournament favourite takes on Alex O'Donoghue for a place in the other semi-final. And then following us here tonight on Free Sports, the penultimate round of the Primeira Liga on Free Sports as CD Aves take on Benfica. Immediately following us here live on Free Sports. Well, it's been an absolutely mammoth encounter in the first quarter-final. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for the second. It will be a belter. We'll see you then.
Too fast, too fly, too funny, too gas, too high, yeah, we on it. We go wherever the crew going. I'm ready, so tell me who won it.
This programme is brought to you by Town Billiards.